Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We are a Jersey podcast, and on the menu is a variety of true crime, cults, mysteries, historical hilarities, and sometimes victim stories. We do this within a dinner with friends theme. I'm Nydia.
I'm Dana.
I'm Cindy.
Last week we talked about the Pepsi story. Tell them about the Pepsi story, Dana.
So last week we talked about how Pepsi had a contest in the Philippines.
In the Philippines.
Where they turned the cap open, and if you got $349.
A number. It was a number.
It was $349.
It was a number of the day.
Right. And you won $1 million.
That's right.
Well, 1 million pesos.
Right.
And like 800,000 people thought they won. And Pepsi was like, nah, fuck all the way off.
Right.
And 5 people were killed in the, I don't know.
In the whole melee.
Yeah.
In the melee.
In the melee.
That ensued.
Yes.
This week, we're in Atlanta, bitches. We are live in front of an audience.
For our 3rd anniversary.
Yes. And this isn't quite how we dreamt it would be after 3 years of podcasting, but here we are nonetheless.
Yes, that's right.
So we're going to be both sharing an Atlanta true crime story.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that. But first, the food. Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month. Under the power of the
podcast.
Cult.
Cindy, what do we have for dinner?
We had peach with gorgonzola in a balsamic dressing over pork chops and polenta.
Yeah. And
So it was like an island of polenta with a building of pork chop.
like a big hotel.
A big hotel. It's
Right.
like a fucking complex.
Yeah.
And then she poured this vinaigrette thing, and it poured around the edge, and that was the beach.
Yeah.
A fucking brown beach.
It was the liquid around the beach, the ocean, if you will.
Exactly.
It was around the island.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then she had these beach chairs of peach that were like sauteed.
Right.
And they were like melting your mouth sweetness. So I liked it. I was here for it.
Yeah, I thought the food was really, really good.
Yeah.
I love a pork chop. I don't get to eat them that often.
Right.
Not for any particular reason. I just don't.
Yeah.
I get a little weird about pork sometimes, but
Sounds racist, but go ahead.
that's fair. I loved it. I feel bamboozled, I will say, because she was like, and this happened. This was not on me. She said, you can have gorgonzola or blue cheese, and I was like, okay.
No,
and then that's
gorgonzola
not what you said, bitch.
or
and
goat
then
cheese.
and then after she poured gorgonzola all over my plate, was like, I know you prefer goat cheese, and I was like, is there goat cheese? And in fact, there was.
No, I said
you know
I know
how
you
I feel
love
about goat cheese, but if there was goat cheese,
I am teaming up with you. When I came up to
She said that.
she said gorgonzola or blue
Thank
cheese.
you.
I said gorgonzola is like blue cheese.
Bitch,
The
we know what
problem is of
gorgonzola
this
is.
podcast for
No.
the past 2.5 years since I've been here is that y'all don't listen to me.
3 years.
No, with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been 2.5. I've only
Yeah.
been with y'all for 2.5 years.
I don't know.
Y'all have not been listening
I
to
don't
each other
know.
for 3 years.
I don't
No.
know. That's not what I heard. I found out there was goat cheese, and I was like, but you know how I feel about goat cheese.
Well-
I have a love affair with goat cheese.
Oh, we know how goat cheese has
so I don't even
done
know why
you
we
dirty,
was
though, too.
No, just settle down. Everybody calm down. I took a little Lactaid. There was milk happening. Whatever. I thought dinner was fantastic. I loved it.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
It felt like a treat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey,
I felt
great job.
fancy.
Fancy?
Yeah.
All right.
As I pulled every piece of thyme, or was that rosemary? Those sticks that kept coming out of my mouth.
Time.
I
It's
was like-
awesome. You gotta have seasoning. You gotta have herbs.
Well, it was a lot. It was excessive.
Well, I thought it was good.
Another thing that was excessive is that fucking Atlanta airport.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
I'll be honest with you. Considering the amount of sweating I'm doing at the moment, I'm not actually sure if we didn't die. Because that's been like the running thing. We're not sure if we died yet or not.
yeah, because Atlanta airport.
The takeoff out of Philly was
rough.
It was questionable.
Yeah,
And I did momentarily think, oh, like that's it. We died.
we're dead.
And then there was a small child, an innocent little babe.
We were wearing Crocs. She was wearing pink fucking
was wearing
Crocs.
pink
She
Crocs.
weaponized Crocs.
This child And I ride on airplanes quite a bit. I'm fine with children. I don't mind them crying. I mind the parents that just look at you dead-eyed as their child fucking slams the tray 77 times while you're falling asleep, sitting straight up like this.
Yeah, like a coffin, like you're a mummy.
Yeah. And I was like, Nydia, make it happen. Make it stop. And she was like, I'm medicated now. I can't do it. I don't have it in me. And I was like, but I need it to stop happening.
You, my friend, have criticized me. A lot of people have criticized my rush to judgment. I'm going to call it that.
Is that what we're calling
in
it?
a nice way. My rush to judgment. I have a few times threatened people with their lives, and that had started to become a problem. And you told me it was a problem, so I medicated it, and I tamped it way down.
And now I had to have a terrible flight with a child assaulting me.
You can't pick or choose my
The child
talent.
tried to jump on Cindy's back.
She did, and she jumped on yours.
She pulled my hair.
Yeah.
It was very upsetting.
Yeah, and the parents did nothing.
Nothing.
Right. And if
should
you
be
want to see
ashamed
what
of
they look
themselves.
like, we have a picture of them.
It's on Instagram right now.
So that was the takeoff. That was
the takeoff in the flight. It was terrible, but it was quick. I felt like it was
Very quick.
Yeah.
I called our pilot, Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
This is why we're not sure if we died yet or not.
Yeah.
The jury's still out.
Yeah.
So we get to Atlanta Airport. Beautiful. They make us wait on the tarmac. You reveal shocking information to me.
Well, I happened to mention this feels like a hostage situation, which the guy in front started laughing. I was just like, oh, I got a live audience. I was like, I can keep cracking jokes. He wound me up. So then I started to say that I saw a TikTok, and if you saw a TikTok, it's fucking,
Obviously.
it's confirmed science. It's fucking actually
It's
science.
non-debatable, right?
Right. And I heard that on a TikTok that when the flight closes the door, that's when they start getting paid. And when they open the doors, when they stop getting paid.
Right.
So it behooves them to hold you until they finish their shift. You know what I mean? So if you were delayed 30 minutes, then you're waiting for that shift to end that extra 30 minutes. So you're sitting on the tarmac.
Now, this actually made a lot of sense because when we got boarded onto the plane, we were in seat 28, the ass crack of the plane. There was literally one asshole family behind us, and then that was it. So we got on like very, very last, and I had one little
Carry-on.
that thing, and it was filled with all of this equipment, and so people already filled up the things, the
overhead compartments.
words are hard. And so I would like look to the flight attendant guy who was like sitting on like what looked
A bucket.
like
Cindy,
it looked like a bucket or like a Coleman cooler. Maybe he had his 30 pack in there or something. I don't know what he was sitting on. And I'm like,
They can't see you.
and he was like,
She's gesturing
They kind of
to
can.
her bag.
it's the audience. I'm talking to the audience.
Okay, but like when this goes into podcast
stop talking.
heaven.
And the guy just looked at me and just simply shook his head. No.
Dana was gesturing to him to the bag and then to the overhead, like, where am I going to put this? And he was like, yeah, no.
I mean, he didn't even try to get up. He was like,
No.
no.
He was
And I was like,
acting his wage
That's
and
right.
quietly quitting.
That's right. And honestly, like, I respect it. I was like,
Yeah.
no, fair enough. When you said he wasn't getting paid, I was like, oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
definitely don't help me.
No.
I'll just put it up in row 11.
Right.
way past. We'll get it when we get out, I guess. Yeah.
Also, Dana's tiny, and so like lifting that big old bag over her head
And
took
also,
some effort.
there was lots of, like, heavy mics and stuff. Literally, no one asked me how big my bag was, how much it weighed. I was like,
Right.
I'll just unpack the shit out of this. It's going to be fine.
That's right. Yeah.
I paid for it.
That's why there was so much turbulence upon takeoff.
Like,
Because of you.
tipped, yeah, it was
I
my
hope
fault.
you're happy. So we got off the plane and we thought we had died because it just felt,
It was an odd sensation.
yeah, it was an odd sensation. Like, like that movie, Doppelgangers, I think it's called. No, it's not Doppelgangers. It's like a Stephen King movie where like they land in an airport and there's no air and you know what I mean?
There's no air.
The Stand. Is it The Stand?
No, it's not The Stand. It's
You say
another
that
one.
every time we
people
talk
are
about
screaming.
Stephen King.
The Frangeliers.
The Langoliers. The Langoliers. Okay, so that felt like that, right? So we get off the airport and we get off at the airport, and everybody is making like we're just following the crowd, like a
Like a
fucking
salmon.
herd of fucking antelope,
Yeah.
just following the crowd. We're the fucking injured antelopes,
Yeah.
honestly. Like we're the ones
There was
getting picked
literally
off.
no fucking signs
None.
anywhere, which was fine because
It
I was
was
like, I
very
think
minimal.
we can. Well, it was like baggage claim this way, baggage claim that way. I was like, that's clear. Thank
Right.
you. So we got on a shuttle
No, we didn't. We walked past the shuttle.
Right.
Everybody else, all the other antelope got on the freaking shuttle.
That didn't feel right to us.
To the Serengeti. Yeah. And we just kept walking and walking and walking. And after a few miles and Cindy complaining the whole way, we found a helpful helper. Yeah. She was like, oh, no, you got to go back and you got to take that shuttle.
People mover.
Yeah.
Back to the shuttle.
Got
a nice seat. It was delightful.
Right.
We loved it. And I was like, this is so fun.
Right. And then we got off and we were like, holy fuck, another shuttle. Well, in the opposite direction.
We had to get on escalator. And anyway, my point is, I think we were dead.
Right, because
we kept
just
getting to escalators. It was the wrong escalator.
And met with another
escalator. We're going the wrong direction. Right. We had to get on a thing. We couldn't go. We get there.
Also, no signs anywhere.
No signs.
None.
But then what happened?
So I get to the car rental
Let's
center.
talk about how Cindy ruined the whole trip.
I did.
She ruined it.
I mean,
from
truly,
start to finish.
Fuck all the way off. We get to the car rental center. I have paid for everything. I mean, I even paid for the gas that we weren't probably going to use, okay? I got there and immediately listening to the people at the front desk and be like, no, we have no cars. I'm like, wait, what? And they're just shooing people away left and right. No, we have no cars. And but we have reservations. What do you mean we have no cars? We have no cars. Here's a phone number for you to call. I'm like, oh, okay. Because they weren't taking.
That's not how she acted. I promise.
No, that's not how she acted.
That's not how she acted.
She was gross.
Y'all were scared.
Yes,
I was scared.
I walked away, starting to make the phone call that needed to be made.
I ordered us McDonald's through Rosa. She picked us up nuggets.
Yes. I wanted an adult Happy Meal.
They didn't
with
have
chicken nuggets.
It was just a bad night. Anyway.
No, wait. While she's freaking arguing with we have to say this because that I think was a fever dream.
Yeah.
While she's talking and cursing the girl out on the freaking phone.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yes, you said
anybody
you said
out.
fuck. You said fuck to her.
Yes,
okay,
you did.
I also apologize.
Did you? I didn't hear it.
That.
I did see two very strange guys with neck tattoos walking two dogs, and they had very expensive. Yes, remember the two dogs, the giant dogs? That's what I'm telling you.
I saw nothing of that.
Did this really happen, or are we dead? Because that was my personal experience.
Right.
I saw two guys that seemed like rappers, like famous guys, because they had very expensive baggage, and they were walking these two dogs that were gigantic, like they were lions. You did not see that?
No, babe.
No, did not see that whatsoever.
We're dead.
I think we are.
So,
we're in Dante's Inferno. What level are we on?
Then we leave, right? Cindy curses people out, but her voice is trembling, so it didn't count. So we walk out.
Fuck all the way off.
Rosa saves the day and picks us up.
Yeah.
And
brings us nuggets.
Right, and brings us nuggets. But while we were standing outside, we're just like, oh my God, there's so many Ubers picking people up, but like it's never the right Uber.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what is happening
We were just picturing how, like, what hell would actually be like, because we were certain that was what was happening. Yeah. And, that's what I think. I think you're, like, waiting, like, perpetually waiting for your Uber, and, like, I don't know, it's a black Hyundai, and every time it's a black Accord. Every time it's like, fuck, it's another Accord. Right. Oh, wait. No, it's an Accord.
Hell is getting lost in the Atlanta airport and getting on a different shuttle every time and a different escalator, but the escalator that you're on happens to be the wrong one, so you have to get on another one that also is the wrong one. And then when you finally make it to the outside, it's never your Uber.
It's never your
Uber. Ever.
Or when you're waiting for your bag, it just like keeps going around and around.
That's right.
Like purple bags keep coming out, but it's not the right purple, so it's not your purple.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And a kid beats the shit out of your back the whole day.
Very gross.
Right. Then we went to Dollhead Park.
Okay. Let me just explain something to you. Amy has been a listener of ours since
the beginning.
The beginning.
Since day one.
Very close. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm obnoxious on Facebook, so I have been reluctant to like be friends with listeners on Facebook because I've gotten better, which is why I've like become friends with people on Facebook. But I can be very like grossly
untrusting.
No. Like I'll say like really gross like political things and be like, I hope the road to hell is paved with broken glass for Rush Limbaugh. Like say like horrible shit, and I'm like, that's not for everybody. Like that's to annoy my family particularly and like some of my friends, and So anyway, I became friends with Amy on Facebook.
Right.
And she posts, like, she takes her cute, adorable dog and her boyfriend and whatever, and they go to these fun, cool places in Atlanta.
Oh my God, they
and
do.
one in particular is Dollhead Trail Park thingy-majig.
I don't know that you would describe that as cute and beautiful.
Oh, why? What is happening?
Everybody's laughing on the screen.
Because we're sideways?
Because we're sideways. So somebody needs to tap the screen.
That seems about right for us. That seems on brand.
Well, anyway, so
Our live is sideways.
anyway, we tell Amy that we're coming here.
Right.
And honestly, like, we're here for Amy.
Well,
like,
see, this is the thing. One thing about me is when I am happy, I make promises that I don't intend to keep. And so this summer, I said, let's go visit Amy, even though I was happy and probably drunk. And now here we are, and I wish the flight got canceled.
So the thing is, though, every single week on the podcast, every single fucking week, we'll be eating our dinner, whatever, like, fucking thing Cindy made up for us.
Right, whatever trash.
And then Nydia goes, I think we should travel. I don't know why we don't travel. What's wrong with you guys?
Also, I
We
hate
should
traveling.
travel. And then literally we book a flight, and she's like, oh, I don't want to go on that. I don't want to go there. But anyway, the point of the moral of the story.
Don't listen to drunk Nydia?
Never, ever again.
No.
But also, we tell Amy we're coming, right?
Yes.
And Amy's like, on it. I'll help you. We tell her what house we're staying at. She orders a house. It gets canceled.
That was a
on
sign.
Cindy. That was on Cindy. And
Are we still sideways?
We are. I can't get out to fix it.
and
There you go. Thank you.
but Amy sends a whole list of things to do. What do you
Right.
want to do? All kinds of shit.
She was prepared.
I mean,
Yeah.
she was on it.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, but I want to go to Dollhead Trail. I want to go to Dollhead Trail. That's where I
Right.
want to go. And I don't care where else we go. Still have another day or so here. But we went to Dollhead Trail.
Right.
And it did not disappoint.
No.
I was thoroughly amused the entire day. Only bolstered by you pretending you were dead at every little art installation. Is that what we're calling it? We're calling them art installations.
Yeah.
That's what Nydia was calling it.
So it's like they said it used to be a landfill.
Uh-huh.
Right? And it used to be, there was a brick factory there. So
Right.
it's like all these like broken bricks and stuff, which sounds very strange. And also it's called Dollhead Trail.
Right.
So like there's all of this like trash, but like people make it into like cute little pun related art things.
Puns and maybe like
One of the
Political
things said-
introspective
political
reflection,
statements.
some political statements.
One of them said, if you lived in a sweatshirt, would you choose to live in the hood? And I have not stopped thinking about it. Okay? Like, I'm sorry. This is some deep, big brain thinking here. Okay?
Wow.
And I just thoroughly had a great time.
And I died at every single spot.
Yeah. So we'll post those pictures of that also. Nydia just pretending she's dead everywhere.
And I smelled of urine the whole day.
You didn't.
Amy made a art
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
And I
thing
am
out of it.
blowing that up, and I am prominently displaying it somewhere where it has to be in a place where like people who know me
Yeah.
can go to, because if they see that, they're gonna be like, yeah.
How about in your bathroom above your toilet?
no?
I think that's a good spot.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be in the main bathroom. So
Yeah, the one
people
downstairs,
actually
yeah.
It's
see
so
visit it.
classy though.
Yeah, it's very. She said, I forget what she said in the text message. Nydia dying, but make it classy or something like
Yes,
that. Yeah.
absolutely. I love it. And then at the end, it was a garbage bag with a smiley face on it, which is like
Which really felt like a self-portrait.
it. Yeah, but like it's like if somebody wrote a sentence about me, and then the exclamation point is the fact that I'm
smiley face.
trash.
Yes, exactly.
I'm trash.
Yeah.
I've been playing dead for my children since they were wee little ones.
Yeah.
So that's fitting.
Have
It's
you
fitting.
been listening to Scottish Murder since you're
Scottish murders.
a wee little?
I love
since
it.
they were wee little ones?
Wee little ones. I love. Anyway, let's. We came here for a story. Let's talk about dessert though,
Okay.
because we had a dessert.
We did.
Cindy made Coca-Cola cake.
And there was ice cream. Finally, she fucking gives us ice cream.
I know, right? But that felt really phoned in because that was like a box.
What did you expect me to do? Like churn some ice cream here?
Kinda.
A little bit.
Y'all expect too much from me.
You do the least. We want the most.
Also, I have to say, Dana Dana it was walking through the airport, and we stopped in front of the bathroom, and there was people a crowd rushing by because they had just deplaned or whatever, and Cindy had to go to the bathroom, and something fell over or something, but you hear Dana saying like, "You moron, what good are you?"
I like to belittle my friends as much as possible. I'm like, you are so useless. I think that's what I say.
Yes, that's exactly what she said. And people are walking by and they're like looking at us and like they don't know the context. Yeah. Also, like Cindy did everything to plan this trip.
Cindy literally did the entire trip.
Yeah.
I mean, fucked everything up from beginning to end, but she did. She did a great job.
You guys need to read each other's shirts at this point.
Yeah, fuck all the way off,
friend.
Yeah. So, that was
So what did you think of the Coke cake? Not enough cocaine, in my opinion.
No, not enough cocaine. There's never enough cocaine.
Fair.
This podcast is cocaine lacking.
It's crack-a-lacking.
Crack-a-lacking. So, I don't mean that, but...
I do. There's certainly not enough cocaine on this podcast.
There's not enough cocaine in the world. So, she gave us some chocolate cake that was like really, she just fucking replaced the water with Coke. Yeah, okay. And
it's
the
like
ice
a Georgia
cream.
thing, I think.
Also,
What?
Also,
Coke cake.
To half-ass things?
No, that's a Nydia thing.
No, to have Coke in your cake, I think. That's the point. It's
Okay.
Georgia?
All right.
I don't know if that's true.
It's Southern. Let's give it Southern.
Okay. I think
so
Georgia
Also-
Coke comes from Georgia, apparently.
It's based out of Atlanta.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we did a Pepsi story last week, so we had to have Coke this week.
I
Only seems
guess.
fair.
We're on a soft drink run here.
The vanilla ice cream, I was happy about that.
Yeah.
I like the cake. I thought it was fine.
It was
moist.
fine. It was fine.
It wasn't warm. We don't have a microwave.
No.
Very strange behavior from
This
this house.
Airbnb lacked a microwave for
and air
some reason.
conditioning, which is so weird.
Yeah, I just think you haven't figured it out.
I don't know.
Also, the rooms are nice and cool.
It's lovely.
So
Yeah.
it's-
No, it's gorgeous. I'm so
Yeah.
thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
She sounds so convincing.
No, it's great.
How about the booze?
So we're drinking Captain and Coke.
That's right.
You love it now.
I love it now.
You were always poo-pooed it.
Always.
We love it. I love it. I'm on my second one. We
Yeah.
had some tequila, and that's the best I can offer. That's my input on Captain and Coke.
I have a story.
Yeah, you want to tell it?
I don't, but
Okay.
I think my hands are tied at
Right.
this point. My story is a conundrum.
Okay.
All right, so picture this. The date is April 17th, 1884. Leo M. Frank is born in Cuero, Texas, to parents Rudolph and Ray Frank. A few months later, the family relocates to Brooklyn, New York. Mary Phagan is born in Marietta, Georgia on June 1st, 1899 to tenant farmers John and Frances Phagan.
Okay.
John Phagan dies of the measles, so they moved to East Point. I almost said West Point, Georgia, where Frances runs a boarding house while her children work in the mills.
Okay.
Mary drops out of school when she's 10 years old, and she goes to work part-time for a textile mill.
At the ripe old age of 10?
At the ripe
Wow.
old, she's almost like an old maid.
I know.
You know, at 10 years old, I was getting recess detention and sniffing markers.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
I was actually pretty well behaved still at 10. I didn't start my
Really?
shenanigans till about 12.
Oh my God. Mrs. Cahill would keep me in for recess, and I would make fun of her facelift, and I would run on the desks.
you so
She
much.
she had like this like open approach to education. She wanted to make everybody equal. So she would put the desks in a circle
Yeah.
around her desk.
Oh, gross.
You know, because we were all equal. And she would take the class out and leave me alone in the classroom, and I would run on top of the
I
desks.
love that so much for you.
And
I love
one
that you're a teacher now.
It's punishment for
Yeah.
it's karma. It's how karma's paying me back.
Yeah.
So she came in, and I stepped in between two desks, and my one leg went through, my other leg was sticking
Oh,
out,
my God.
and she had to like fish me out of there.
When I was in 7th grade, I was in I was in a bad class.
Right.
This kid Ralph Tozer, all the desks were in a row, and they were the ones where you sit in the chair is connected to the desk.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, I bet I could jump over this whole row, and we were like, definitely you can't. He was went running, and he fucking launched himself over and got maybe 3 desks over before he crumpled in a pile of fucking desks, and his arm was all bent in the wrong way, and the teacher was like, that's awesome, great job. I think this is fun for you.
Yeah.
He died.
Oh, wonderful. A fucking desk murdered him.
Oh, I think he was shot outside of a bar.
Oh shit! Okay.
Anyway, I went to 8th grade graduation with him. Anyway, there you go.
These stories feel
Rest
like
in peace.
mom getting smacked at the dinner table.
Bro, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. My mom just told me that one of her coworkers is listening to the show. And I
No.
was like, you're going to have to not do that. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know how much shit I talk on this podcast?
Right.
Anyway, tell me about Mary Phagan.
Wait. My coworkers at work have started listening to the show, and I was just like, please just don't.
My
Just
coworkers,
don't.
one of them was just logged in. Oh, she's gone, but
I was just like,
yeah.
don't do that.
my coworkers aren't teachers, though.
Yeah, I was just like, I already got banned from meetings, and like this is just gonna put the nail in the coffin, honestly, to my career.
Fine, babe.
I don't know. Well, back to Leo.
Yeah.
I mean, back to my story. So Leo Frank attended New York Pratt. I really did write that. New York Pratt Institute for his high school education.
Okay.
And graduated in 1902, and then enrolled in Cornell University.
Wow.
That's kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Where he was active in sports and photography, among other things.
Wow.
You know, Pratt Institute is now a design school, but back then, according to Wikipedia, tuition was $4 per class per term. Approximately $120.60 in today's money.
Wow.
You know, here's the thing.
A practical steal.
Boomers, hello. Fun fact. Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw out these fun facts because you have to remember the time frame under which my story is happening. Other things are happening.
Oh,
Okay?
such as?
Big world-changing things. Okay. So in 1905, the Niagara Movement is founded by 29 black men that are for the financial advancement of the black race.
Okay.
And I include this to show that this was a time of a power shift and struggles between the minority races and the majority whites.
Okay.
So there was that whole, like now, where you have older generations saying, oh, the world is changing. I don't know what's going on, you know, like that whole thing because,
Right.
you know, they just can't share the
Always.
stage,
Yeah,
right? So in September 1906, a deadly race riot breaks out in Atlanta where a group of white men kill as many as 50 black men.
Yeah.
In this same year, Leo Frank graduates Cornell with a degree in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
He was then hired as a draftsman for 6 months stint at the B.T. Stunneman Company in Hyde Park, Massachusetts, before going back to New York to work for the National Meter Company as a testing engineer until October 1907. So he's like bouncing around,
Yeah.
getting different experience opportunities, right?
Okay, cool.
In December 1907, Frank completed a 9-month apprenticeship at Germany's Eberhard Farber Pencil Company, learning the skills for pencil manufacturing.
Okay.
Think about it as, you know, someone needed training in pencil construction, like today we need training in computer engineering.
That's pretty cool, actually.
You know, put that in your mouth and just let it settle there. Taste the flavors of it.
I picture the Mr. Rogers, like when he would go to the factory and like all the little pencils would like roll around on the thing.
That was my fucking
And
favorite.
maybe it was someone's job to just like slide the lead into all the hollow pencils and just like slide in the lead.
Right?
That's how the lead gets in there, right? Someone slides it in.
You have to think about
They
it
just
like
slide
this.
it in, right?
What? Is that how the lead goes in?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's slid, yeah.
They just slide it in.
Okay. You know, pencils were a technology advancement.
Yeah,
You know, prior to that, there was the fucking quill.
right. The feather and the.
Yeah. And,
Which honestly, I think was a real shame that we got rid of.
well, you know, pencils were portable and the quill was not. You know, that's the equivalent of a laptop. And the quill and ink pot were the equivalent of a desktop.
You're really on one here.
yeah.
Ian.
So I wonder if, like,
And that's
kids,
how you pad a story.
You know what? Like, though, I wonder if like kids were getting phone calls from their grandparents asking them how to use the pencil. You know what I mean? And like, did they worry that pencils would change
but
everything?
Did you watch Downton Abbey when they try to like install light fixtures in
Yes.
their house and she's
Fucking
fucking
love that.
pissed? She's like, "Why is all this light so fucking bright?"
I know.
Which
I know.
honestly, fair.
But I mean, that's like every generation. You know? And did they think the pencil was gonna like take over?
right.
And like, oh, these kids are gonna forget how to do
Well, don't they do that?
calligraphy?
They do that now with writing cursive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's so stupid.
Writing cursive sucks anyway.
And like, I remember, I'm old enough to remember when people would lick the tip of the pencil and write.
Why?
Because they were still in quill technology.
When you were a kid.
I I doubt that.
I don't think so.
They
I
were.
doubt that.
They were. I promise you they were. So in 1908...
This was
old.
probably a lead thing, you know what I mean?
She is old.
Yes, she is old, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We gotta get at least one of those in an episode.
Yeah, she's old. I'm 4 years older than her.
Yeah.
Okay.
But 10 to me, so.
In 1908, during the month of August, between the 14th and the 15th, in Springfield, Illinois, there was a race. Illinois. There was a race riot between Unionists and black workers. At that same time, Leo Frank moves to Atlanta. I'm just glossing over that, where he had a job waiting for him as the supervisor of the National Pencil Company that his uncle Moses Frank had a stake in.
So he's moving up.
Nepotism at its finest.
We love it, yeah.
All right. Shortly upon his arrival in Atlanta, he meets Lucille Selig. She's a member of a prominent Jewish family, and the family had founded the Atlanta's first synagogue.
Perfect.
All right. So in February 1909, the Niagara and other such organizations become the NAACP.
Okay.
They converge and they become the NAACP. And I say that because I want you to keep track of the racial,
Okay.
All right? In November of the following year, Leo Frank and Lucille Selig marry and go to live in Lucille's parents' house.
Okay.
All right. In October 1911, the National Urban League is organized to help blacks get equal employment rights. In this same year, Mary Phagan goes to work for a paper manufacturing plant. Mm-hmm. She's a ripe 11 years old.
Okay. So we have papers and pencils.
Papers and pencils.
All right,
the teacher's dream come true.
Yeah.
A teacher's wet dream. The owner of the plant
no.
happens to be the National Pencil Company's treasurer.
Okay.
So, this is all connected. All right? Pencil and paper. In 1912, Mary Phagan's mother remarries John William Coleman, because she was a widow. And by April of that same year, Mary Phagan is hired to work in the National Pencil Company. There, she operated a knurling machine. You know what a knurling machine does?
That's how the lead gets inside the pencil?
No, get away from that.
Okay.
It's how the erasers get put into the metal.
I was so fucking
metal
close.
tops.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So she earned a whole $4.05 per week and worked a 55-hour work week.
Jesus Christ.
She was 12.
Oh, my God.
All right. This same year, Frank is elected president of the Jewish Fraternal Association. I'm going to butcher this name, but I think it's called the B'nai B'rith.
Okay.
B'rith. All right. Mm-hmm. So it's like a Jewish fraternal association because they're in the South and they need to
stick together.
They need to stick together because there was a lot of anti-Semitism. All right. So the year is 1913.
Okay.
And by this time, Atlanta's Jewish community was the largest in the South. Atlanta was happening.
Yeah. It's pretty popular.
Yeah. And it's also at this time that the event that brings me to this story takes place.
Okay.
All right. On the chilly Saturday morning of April 26, Mary took the trolley from East Point to Atlanta to pick up her pay of 12 hours. She had been laid off the previous week because of a shortage of brass sheet metal.
Okay.
Afterwards, she had plans to get together with friends to celebrate the Confederate Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
This is a holiday which, holiday in some southern states since the 1866s.
Okay.
All right?
So we just learned yesterday that they only stopped celebrating this 2 years ago.
Well, they haven't.
Oh, they haven't? They just stopped making it a holiday?
They stopped talking about it. And
they still celebrate it, but they don't call it.
Well, here's what they do. It's a holiday. This year it'll be celebrated on a Monday, April 24th.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And on
the South is so fun.
On the calendars that they give you at work, it says it'll say like Georgia holiday or state holiday.
Yeah, that's what they said, state holiday.
But it's like shush. We know what it is. Come on, guys, be cool. And the South is like, damn, that's a fucked up thing. But at least we, it's a paid off Monday,
right? Yeah,
right. Shush. Like we're cool.
Yeah, I'm about it. Yeah,
right. So they just call it like a state holiday.
Okay.
Can
we get one of those?
A holiday which shall not be named.
Yes.
Because we cool. We not racist. So anywho, it was around noon when Mary arrived at the pencil factory. This factory was a 4-story stone building in downtown Atlanta. It took up an entire city block. She came in the main entrance and walked to the stairway to the second floor. It was where she had been working the previous week and also where the factory superintendent, Leo Frank's office was. Not far away from these stairs was a hole which covered a hatch which led to the basement via a ladder. Okay. So they didn't even pitch in for the fucking ladder, stairs.
Yeah.
It was just a fucking ladder.
Like a rope thing? You
just have to climb down, right? The basement will come into play later.
Okay.
Mary Phagan went to her boss's office where he handed her a pay envelope with a whole $1.20.
Okay.
That's $1.20 for a week work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or 12 hours or whatever it was.
Whatever it was, right?
Tragic.
This would be the last time anyone would see Mary alive again.
And she's 12 years old.
She's 13.
13 years old.
Yes. And she's like a month shy of her 14th birthday. It is believed by some that on Saturday, April 26, 1913, Frank used the opportunity of a deserted factory and his power as the company boss to lure little Mary Phagan to a back area of the factory and attempt to sexually assault her. Yuck. Mary resisted, and Frank struck her and knocked her unconscious and then strangled her to death. First, he tried with her underwear, and when he was unsuccessful, he used a 7-foot long wire.
Gross.
Yeah. He left a trail of clues leading to him, so within a few days of the murder, he was arrested. Evidence showed that the murder was sexually motivated, and many of Leo Frank's own female employees testified to Frank's history of sexual harassment. They testified that he got, quote unquote, too familiar, and he would put his hands on them, on their breasts, and tried to corner them and propose sexual acts in exchange for money. Yeah. They were teenagers, like very young.
Barely even teenagers.
Yeah, like preteens, These teenagers bravely took the witness stand and spoke of Leo Frank's lewd behavior. The 13-year-old Mary Phagan had been working full-time there for over a year now, and now she was dead. She was 13 working a full-time 55-hour job. We work less than 40 hours, and we're like, this is hard.
Yeah, it sucks. And it's like over and over and over and over again making pencils.
Right.
Like imagine.
Like the eraser.
My eye is twitching just thinking about it.
Yes, right? So April 27th rolls around, and at around 3:15 a.m., Mary Phagan's body is discovered by Newt Lee, the night watchman of the National Pencil Company. He went down to the basement to use the toilet meant for blacks and found her. So he is going down that ladder, boop, 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 and he is going to use the only bathroom allowed to him, even though it's 3:15 in the morning. I'm sorry. If I'm working in a factory at 3:15, I'm shitting all over the white bathrooms.
Truly.
Nobody's fucking watching.
Yeah.
Nobody has to know. But
God, and he was
is
still
honest Abe.
rules. Yeah,
and he's following the rules, going down that fucking
Probably
ladder.
because it would be really fucking bad if he didn't.
Right. Also, the basement was a filthy... Who's going to know, though?
You probably can't take that chance.
I don't know, man. All poop is brown.
All right, just stop.
Sometimes it's green.
Yeah, go see a doctor.
Both of you? I hate both of you.
The basement was a filthy place with a dirt floor littered with sawdust, coal dust, ashes, and trash.
Okay.
So it's fucking filthy down there.
Yeah. It's a basement.
Yeah. She was dirty, disheveled, and appeared to have been severely beaten. Lee calls the police, when they arrive, they saw the dead girl's body in the back of the basement, close to the incinerator, and away from the elevator shaft about 100 feet. Now, why they didn't put her in the incinerator, I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? This would not have been a story that would have been covered if they would have put her in the incinerator.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to teach anybody how to do a crime better.
Sounds like you are, actually.
Well, so the girl was placed face down. She was bruised and cut and covered in soot. She had dirt in her eyes, cinder in her mouth. Wait, is it cinder or cinders?
Cinder.
Okay, in her mouth and nostrils. And she had a black eye, wounds to her scalp, elbows and knees, and a swollen tongue that stuck out, and also torn up clothing.
Yikes.
Yeah. Her dress was lifted up to her waist, and there was blood on her underwear, which suggested sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. A piece of her underwear, she also had underwear tied around her neck, along with the 7-foot piece of cord. Near her were 2 notes nearby where she was found. So they didn't find her pay envelope or her purse. They discovered that someone had messed with some service doors that connected the basement to the alleyway. This allowed the door to be opened without unlocking it first, so they jimmied the door open, right? Blood was found on these doors, as well as the pipe which was used to pry the doors open. police found a clump of human poo at the bottom of the elevator shaft.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I hate the way you worded that.
Well, how would you like me to word it?
I don't know. Human poo, though.
Human poop, human excrement, a duty.
Okay, go ahead.
A number two, a deuce.
All right, go ahead. Forget it.
A nice, like, little dookie, like, just, like, swirled, right? Under the bottom of the elevator shaft. And how they found it is that when the police came down the elevator, it squashed it and filled the basement with the foul odor of poo. Newt Lee
fucking done with you.
was then...
Why is that relevant to the story, though?
It does. It becomes very relevant.
Good.
It's like the number one clue.
No, it's not.
Actually, the number 2.
Okay. All right. Newt Lee was then immediately arrested. Now, I'm sorry. Why would a black man call in a crime?
I mean, I figured immediately he was going to be arrested.
I mean,
if he's the
yeah,
one that found the body, of course.
He fucking called it in, fuckers.
Yeah.
Why would he? All right, so...
He definitely should not have.
Right. Well, attorney Luther Z. Roser is hired by the National Pencil Company to defend him.
Oh, wow.
Because they were like,
That's
yeah,
shocking, actually.
we're going to get sued.
Okay, fair.
Yes.
That
So
makes more sense.
another guy that was arrested was Arthur Molyneux. He was a former streetcar driver and acquaintance of Mary, and he's also arrested. So,
Okay.
he's picked up. He used to take Mary to work and back, and witnesses came forward saying that Mary had appeared to be drugged in his presence at the
The night before she died, or in general?
just like they said that she was at the Memorial Day thing. No, wait, Confederate Memorial Day
Gotcha,
thing,
yeah.
and that he seemed to have drugged her or something.
Okay.
So when police went to Leo Frank's house, because he was the supervisor of the factory, they were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, some shit went down at your workplace. Come down, right?"
Yeah.
They went that early morning, like around 4:00 in the morning. He seemed shaken and nervous.
Okay.
Although, fair enough, if you woke me up at 4:00 in the morning to go to work, I'd
Right.
weaponize my incompetence and be
Yes.
like, yeah, I'm
You're
not.
like, actually, my foot is broken.
Yeah. I can't feel my hands. Am I awake? Is this real life?
It's not.
On April 28th, Pinkerton Detective Agency is hired by
Perfect.
Leo M. Frank. And Pinkerton Detective Agency is a fucking big deal back then.
Yeah, no shit.
That's like having the FBI on your side.
Yeah, the most crooked FBI that ever existed.
Yeah. So,
Which is saying something, considering.
yeah, so they're hired as investigators
Yeah.
on his behalf, right?
That
So
was a bad idea.
Leo Frank is asked by the police and his own detectives to privately interrogate Newt Lee. They're like, hey,
They want Leo Frank to interrogate Newt Lee.
yes,
That seems wrong.
right. You, dude, you have blood between your fingers, but we want you to interrogate the guy that works for you that called in the freaking thing to begin with.
Fuck.
And use your own resources to investigate because you're police. We're
Right.
underfunded.
Yeah.
So, in his house, they find a burn barrel. And inside that burn barrel
In Leo's
is
house.
In Newt Lee's house,
Okay.
okay, who's black. All right?
Yes, no, I got
Yes.
that.
So they find a bloody shirt in a burn barrel.
Okay.
So, like, you tell me, okay, if that's not planted, wouldn't that have been burnt? If it's in a burn barrel.
It was just sitting on top?
Yes.
Just hanging out?
Just hanging out.
Okay. I don't like it.
No. And also, if you were the real guy, would you have burnt that? Like, I mean, it's in the like, all you have to do is light a match, it seems.
Right.
Okay, so
Or put it right into the incinerator with the body of the person.
I mean, yeah, but you know,
We already
semantics,
didn't do
right?
that, yeah.
So he has blood stains around the armpits of the shirt.
Newt does.
Newt, yes.
Okay.
And the shirt appears unworn, right? So Newt Lee says that the blood is his own, caused by an injury. I have never had a armpit injury that caused blood, and I have waxed many times, and
Yeah.
I have nared and waxed.
That seems like
And like I
problematic.
haven't been able to close my arms for 3 days, but I've never caused blood
Yeah, I can't imagine how you would be bleeding from the armpits.
from the armpits, right?
So what do you think what caused the blood? Even if you picked up a dead body, it wouldn't go under the armpits.
Unless the legs were under the armpits.
And what,
then
throw the corpse and torso over your fucking shoulder?
no, like
The
let's say
fuck?
that you're wheelbarrowing somebody and like their feet are bloody.
But so you're just dragging them by you tuck their feet under their armpits.
That's
like
how
a
I would
fucking
do it.
What?
No.
What?
Honestly, the incinerator was right there.
No, but why would you? I don't understand how you would get blood under your armpits.
Okay, the way that I would do it,
Demonstration. I'd like to see.
I would lift with my back. I would put...
You would tuck the feet under your armpits?
I would tuck the feet under my armpits, and I would like, all right, lift. Like, you know?
I don't think that's
where
what
would
you
the
do.
feet go on your scenario? Around your waist?
Well, first of all, I would be facing backwards. I would be dragging them behind me. You know, I'd be
No.
holding-
We're not dragging. We're sharing the load.
Oh,
You're
two
lifting.
people?
Yes.
Okay, 2 people. Still, I would hold their feet, and then we'd
At
be
your
behind-
waist.
Yeah, at my waist. That's where you're strong.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, bro. Your armpits have no strength.
Yeah, they do.
What do you
No,
do?
they
You fucking
don't.
putting
They
them
do
down,
nothing.
and then you like take something and wrap it around your body to hold them tight. Like there's no grip. There's no function.
All right. Well,
It just simply won't work.
he had bloody armpits. I don't know what to tell
right,
you.
I don't
All right.
like it.
So, and he said it was his. So I don't know. During the trial, though, this would be presented as the first time Leo Frank attempts to pin the crime on somebody else.
Okay.
They say that Leo Frank was the one that placed that shirt there.
Okay.
I don't know. A few other men were arrested in suspicion, too. One was James Gant, a former shipping clerk at the National Pencil Company. And he had, like, an obvious attraction for Mary, and everyone knew about it. But this was when,
This is a child.
she was 13, but, like, this was when women had babies at 14, and if you were past 18 and you hadn't gotten married, you were an
Fair
old
enough,
maid, you
yeah.
know?
Uh-huh.
The Atlanta Constitution, which was a newspaper, on that same day puts up a reward of $1,000 for information about the murderer, and on that same day, police have to disperse a white lynch mob who were trying to lynch Newt
Oh,
Lee.
Jesus
They were
Christ.
just like fucking hungry for a lynching, right? On April 29th at 11:30 that morning, Leo Frank is taken into police custody and identified as the suspect in the murder. Leo also admitted that he was the last person to see Mary alive. He claims to have stayed in the office for 20 minutes after Mary left, but another young woman came to the factory for her paycheck. She claimed that she sat there for the longest time and he never showed. So where was he?
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. So Mary Phagan's body is buried on that same day, April 29th. And
Damn.
Yes, and you would think that she would be left to rest in peace, but no, they have to exhume her another 2 times after this.
Fuck.
One time was to check if she had drugs in her belly. Like, bro, you had checked her belly before you put her into the ground. You said that she had eaten cabbage and bread, the saddest of the meals, of the last meals to have, right?
Yeah.
Sewed her fucking back up, threw her into the ground, and then they were like, oh, wait, we forgot to check for drugs. Let's take her back out, check her belly again. Nope, no drugs. Put her back into the ground. Pull her back up another time. I left my gloves in there, my car keys or whatever. And they fucking keep exhuming her.
Jesus Christ.
Right. So then, on April 30th, and there were no car keys because this was like nobody could afford cars. Remember,
Yeah.
you did like a thing? You did a story on like how like wages had to change because nobody could afford a Model T Ford.
I think you're listening to
I'm going
another
to talk about
podcast.
that. Anyway, on April 30th, a coroner's inquest begins, and 13-year-old witness comes forward named George Epps. He says Phagan was fearful of Leo Frank, who had been flirtatious with her. And Newt Lee also testifies that Leo Frank had seemed nervous the day of the murder and had phoned him to check things at the factory. So he was like, hey, can you go check the factory? And he had never done that before.
Really?
Right. But 2 other employees at the factory that had been working that day said that he hadn't been acting weird at all. So, that discredits Newt Lee's
Also, this
thing.
is irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah.
But this was all at the, they
Sure,
were like
yeah.
getting questioned, right? Yeah. On May 1st, suspects, Arthur Molyneux, the guy that was like the trolley driver, he gets let go, and James Gant, the guy that had the crush on her, they get released. There's nothing on them. Newt Lee and Leo Frank are still being held.
Okay.
They're like, okay, you're our major suspects, right? That same day, around 2 in the afternoon, James Jim Connolly, a 29-year-old African-American sweeper at the factory, is also arrested. Now, this guy begins the whole fucking beef patty of this shit. Okay? So this came after the factory's day watchman, E.F. Holloway, observed him on the second floor scrubbing red stains from a blue shirt that he had been wearing.
Uh-oh.
So he's the factory janitor. Connolly tried to hide the shirt and then claimed that it was rust from an overhead pipe. But when detectives examined the shirt, they determined that it was not blood and gave the shirt back with no formal testing. So they were just like, yeah, this doesn't look like blood. Take it back, right?
Yeah, also, what is forensics in 1905 or whatever?
What is forensics?
Yeah.
Also, it was like really weird because it's like the first time that white cops are giving a black man like the hey, no, you're good. Go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's so freaking weird. On May 6th, a grand jury is formed to review the evidence in the case, and on May 7th, police report that someone is planting false evidence all up in this John's, and they're trying to block their investigation.
Really?
Somebody's going around just fucking planting bad evidence,
Oh, my
right?
goodness.
Somebody who has something to lose. On May 8th, the investigation by the coroner is completed, and Newt Lee and Leo Frank are ordered held on the crime of the murder of Mary Phagan.
Both
They
of
just
them.
can't rule them out,
Okay,
right?
all right.
On May 9th, 14-year-old National Pencil Company employee Montine Stover comes forward with information that undermines Frank's alibi. She is the girl that says, "Nuh-uh, you weren't in your office because I was there waiting for your ass and
Okay.
you weren't there."
Okay.
On May 16th, attorney Thomas Felder, he enters the case operating covertly on behalf of Frank.
Undercover?
Yes,
Oh
and
my
he's just
God.
like, and he tries to bring in the Burns agency detectives.
Like George Burns?
They're like William J. Burns or something. What do you mean George Burns? Not the documentary. No, not the documentary.
I
So
meant from The Simpsons.
yeah. Oh, you meant from The Simpsons, you dummy. So he comes in and he wants to bring in this like detective to try to like find real evidence that that will
Okay.
release Frank from
Okay.
we got the
So this guy,
Pinkertons.
yeah, I
we
was
got-
going to say, he's like hiring all these like
Yes, like,
special people to like
find some way to get me out
get
of
me
this,
out of
right?
this. Oh my God, imagine the straws. You're just like grabbing
Grab it, just
anything. But you're like, I don't
grasping
care,
at
whatever
them.
it is.
Right, yeah, just fucking pin it on somebody. I don't
Yeah.
care. So May 18th, James Connolly begins to reveal his role as a helper to Leo Frank to move and conceal the body of Mary. His testimonies prior to this had been inconsistent with lies about being illiterate. And he was like, like when you're like, no speaking Spanish. No speaking Spanish. No speaking English. Like, Spanish, what the fuck? All right. So he admitted that on the morning of the murder, he left his home at 10:30 and went drinking. Like fucking 10:30 a.m.
Who says this?
The fucking James Connolly,
Okay.
the sweeper.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
He's just like, yeah, I was drinking. Sorry
He's
about
like,
it.
nah, it was Saturday. I
Yeah.
woke up at 10:30, rolled out of bed, woke up in the morning, and he was like that, right? Like, all like Kesha. He went fucking
Yeah.
Kesha on them,
Yeah.
right? And he
You can't laugh at your own joke.
no. At 10:30, he goes drinking and gambling, and then he stayed home all day. And he was just like fucking early riser. Went drinking, bought a bottle of fucking whiskey, kept it in the paper bag.
Yeah.
And
how you
he
keep cool.
rolled dice and went home. He was
Okay.
like, I was nowhere near that
Yeah.
woman, right? Police didn't believe this because a woman had witnessed a black man. She described a black man wearing blue clothes like the ones worn by Connolly that day, and also the testimony from the watchman, which said that he had been washing out the blue shirt, right?
Right.
This put pressure on Connolly, and so he admitted to writing the 2 notes found near Phagan's body.
Why?
Because, he was just like, all right, you got me. I wasn't gambling and drinking all day. I was writing notes. So, however, he claimed the notes were dictated by Leo. Also, they were nonsense notes,
I was
like
gonna say,
gibberish.
what is the point of them?
Like
I don't
fucking
understand.
pure gibberish,
Okay.
right? And he said that Leo Frank dictated them. He said that the day before the murder, Leo Frank asked him to come into his office, and he asked him if he could read and write. And Frank told him what to write, and he complied. Like, he was just like, hey, can you read and write, And Connolly was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But could he really?
Could he?
I don't know. It was just gibberish, right?
Okay.
So he claimed, Frank said, I know some wealthy people in Brooklyn, and why should I hang? But this was the day before the murder, so it would suggest that it was like premeditated. And the police were skeptical about this premeditated murder
Yeah.
plot. They were just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's not how it happened, right?
Yeah.
So the grand jury never heard about those notes.
Okay.
So nothing of these notes and his whole involvement was ever included.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like
Was he on trial as well?
You'll see.
Okay, all right.
So on May 19th, C.W. Toby, an investigator in the Burns Detective Agency, arrives to Atlanta to assist in the investigation. And he's in the Atlanta airport just like, where the fuck do I pick up my baggage? Where's ground transportation? I can't get a rental car. Can I call an Uber? He was just like fucking lost out there.
Yeah.
Also, this is the 1900s.
Yeah.
Leo Frank's defense team was playing all kinds of dirty because on May 22nd, attorney Thomas Felder was caught in secret recordings offering a $1,000 bribe to police officials to obtain documents needed for Leo Frank's defense team. They were like, hey, for $1,000, will you give us what you have?
Yeah.
Like, just let me get a peek. Let me get a peek.
Yeah, just a little sneak
What do you
peek.
have? Just a little sneak peek.
Did they?
No. They were caught.
Oh, okay.
So the grand jury heard enough, and on May 24th, the Fulton County grand jury indicts Leo M. Frank in the murder of Mary and holds Newt Lee as a material witness. They didn't want to let him go because they were like, oh, they're going to influence him, and he's going to fucking, fold like a fucking lawn chair.
Okay.
So since they never got to hear about the notes, Jim Connolly does not get indicted along with Leo Frank.
Shit.
And I mean, he even said, like, hey, yeah, I knew I was privy to it.
Yeah.
Right? So on May 27th, the Burns Detective Agency withdraws from the case and publicly states finding that Leo Frank was indeed the murderer. The fucking Burns Detective Agency.
Which is who he hired.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on May 28th, Jim
not
Connolly, changes his testimony once again. Jim Connolly.
Why?
He was lying a lot.
Okay.
He claims...
But why is he even involved at this point? They didn't bring him to trial. They didn't use the notes. Like, why is he even...
He just keeps appearing.
He just keeps popping his head.
Yeah.
He's like, I got something else to say.
Yes.
I want to tell you about it.
Right. And he's like, okay, I lied. And he's like, we didn't write the notes prior to the murder.
Obviously.
Instead, he says he met Frank outside on that day and went into the pencil factory where Frank dictated what he wanted written on the notes.
Okay.
He said he was given cigarettes as payment and he wrote the notes. And then he was ordered out of the factory, shoo, and he went drinking and to watch a movie. Drinking is always involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair.
And he was unaware of the death until he returned on Monday. The police believed this story. However, 3 other National Pencil Company employees informed the media that Jim Connolly had intended to rob another employee, that he had followed into the building, but he turned his attention instead to a weaker, smaller Mary, and because they said, oh yeah, he came there with the intention of robbing whoever was getting paid that week, and
because people are coming and going to get their paychecks.
Yeah. And so, but the police didn't buy this story, But I mean, that was plausible. I don't know. But, you don't know. They were probably lying on him. So on May 29th, Connolly was questioned for 4 hours. And in his 4th sworn statement, he states that Frank took him to the 2nd floor where Frank showed him the body of Mary and confessed to killing her. So each time he's changing his story.
Yeah.
This is now the 4th one. Connolly helped him carry her to the elevator, which they used to bring the girl's corpse to the basement. The elevator.
Is there elevators in Nigeria?
Just think about that. Yes, there was an elevator to get to the basement that only white people could use.
Okay.
Remember the cops came down,
Right.
squished the poop,
Right, okay.
sent the smell around all over the place? They took the elevator down to the thing. All right, who made that poop?
Who made it?
Who made that poop? And if they
Is that
took
where
the
the bathroom
body,
is?
yes, if they took the body down the elevator after he had killed her, and let's say that Connolly went down the stairs that the black people were supposed to take, but the white guy took her in the elevator downstairs, they would have squished the poop. The poop wasn't there, which means the poop came after she was killed.
So who pooped down there?
James Connolly.
Really?
Yes. So that's the poop is the evidence.
Yeah.
The poop points to the killer.
But, okay, so you're suggesting
That poop was guilty.
that this man was going to rob someone.
Yes.
He instead found a little girl.
This is unpopular opinion. I am not racist, I promise you. Because if you say that, you are labeled racist.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so
she's taking a risk.
I'm not. I'm saying this is what you're saying.
Yes.
This is what your theory is.
Yes.
He was going to rob somebody.
Yes.
Instead, he raped and killed this little girl.
Yes.
Sexually assaulted her.
I'm not saying that he did, but some people, there's the camp that believes that.
Okay. Then he took a shit under the elevator.
Yes. Under the elevator.
For good
shaft.
measure.
For good measure.
And then beat feet out of there.
Beat feet out of there. Went
And
to
then
go play dice.
Went upstairs and was like, I'll write these notes for you.
No, he had already written the notes.
Oh, okay. Preemptively, we're
Yes.
going to kill this girl. We write these notes.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but hear me out, right? So he says that he helped carry her to the elevator, which they used to bring the girl's corpse down to the basement because he couldn't lift her by
Squished
himself.
but they didn't squish any poo because it
The
wasn't
cops squished the poop.
there yet. Interesting.
See what I'm saying?
I'm following along.
The
man.
poop had to have been there after the killer
Now,
did it.
Are we sure this is human poop?
This is human poop. He said it was my poop. He's like, my bad, it was my poop. He said it.
Okay, all right.
So they went back upstairs separately. He said that this time he went up in the elevator, and the boss man Frank went up the stairs.
Okay.
Up the ladder. All right, and he went back. They
Why?
met
What'd that
back
do?
at the office. I don't know. They went back at the office, and Frank handed him $2, and he was like, "You know what? Let me get that back. He was like, "I'm gonna take care of you on Monday. We're good, right?" Mm-hmm. He gave him $200, which makes total
200?
fucking sense. Yes.
$200.
Leo Frank gives James Connolly $200. He was like,
That's a lot of money back then.
yeah. He's like, you just helped me dispose of a body. Here's $200.
Yeah.
And then as he's walking away, he's like, wait. Give me that back. He's like, I'll just take care of you on Monday. That seems about right.
Okay.
Right? So
I would
on
have been
May...
like, hell to the fucking...
Right. No. Just give me that money, right?
Yeah.
But this is a white man in power, so,
Sure.
On May 30th, James Connolly reenacts his part of, what he did. He reenacts it for the cops.
Poo included?
And for the reporters. Like, he reenacts the day, how it happened.
He pops a squat underneath the elevator.
No. He doesn't do that, but he reenacts the whole thing.
Okay.
Like, this is how it went down.
I mean, that's the pivotal point in your story.
Right, but he does that, and he's, the reporters and the police, and they're like, yeah, that sounds right, that sounds right,
Mm-hmm.
right? So William Smith is hired by the Atlanta Georgian to represent Jim Connolly, because he's a black man, and he's like, oh my God, you're going to need a lawyer, now you're accessory to the after the fact, right? So he's an attorney who had built a reputation for taking on African-American clients, which was not a thing back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So this guy, he's like meaning well, and he's like, I'm going to defend you. I know you're wrong. I know you're right. I'm going to defend you. You had no choice. This was a white man in power. He forced you to fucking hide a body for him, whatever. On June 3rd, Minola McKnight, Minola. I'm sorry, Minola.
I was like, hold
Manola McKnight, the black cook for Leo Frank's family, signs an affidavit that she overheard Frank's wife and mother discussing his confession to the murder.
Oh, shit.
So, on June 21st, prominent Atlanta attorney Reuben Arnold announced that he has joined Leo Frank's defense team, declaring the lovely words, I do not believe any white man committed this crime.
I got head shakes.
On June 28th, John M. Stanton is inaugurated as governor of Georgia.
Okay.
And he becomes the biggest shit stirrer in all of this story.
Love it.
Okay. So put a paperclip in that. John M. Stanton.
Okay. You got it.
Fun fact, during the summer of 1913, Henry Ford introduces the assembly line producing 1,000 Model Ts daily. He also establishes a wage of $5 a workday. This was unprecedented, and everyone earning less begins to quiet quit and act their wage.
Perfect. I love that.
So they're like, yeah, fuck this job.
Yeah, I'm going to go work for the car company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On July 28th, the official trial of Leo Frank begins.
I'm sorry. Did you just tell me about a story that I told, but you actually were about to tell it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm like, I definitely never told that story. About the
Wait.
car thing and the Model T.
You never told that
No,
story?
babe. I think you just told your own story ahead of time.
Oh my God. Okay. There was a huge prosecution team and a huge defense team for this trial.
Yeah.
This was like if fucking, what's her name? Grace? Nancy Grace was on, and she would be talking about this. She'd be like, he's fucking
100%.
guilty as fuck.
Yeah. Wait, who does she think is guilty? Leo Frank.
Leo Frank.
Okay.
Because she's not going to go against the,
Right, yeah.
yeah. Anyhow.
I don't know. She loves a...
I don't know.
Yeah. She loves a guilty motherfucker.
The jury was all white men with 2 black jurors
No.
dismissed. I mean, they tried. They tried. They had 2 guys.
They had 2. All right.
And
2
they
showed
were
up.
like, yeah, maybe not.
Definitely no.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So the courtroom was racially segregated and well attended.
Okay.
One side and
Absolutely,
on the other
yeah.
side, right? So the first witness was Mary Phagan's mother. The second witness was George Epps, who had ridden with Mary on the streetcar and was supposed to meet her after for ice cream and watch the Confederate Memorial Day parade. The last witness was Newt Lee, who discovered the dead girl, and his story remained the same. He was just fucking, this is the story, this is the truth.
Right. Yeah.
So on July 29th, policeman Dobbs, the very next day, He was the detective that came to the factory after Lee's call, and so he testifies. And he testified to the condition of the body as well as the trail from where the girl's body had been dragged, because she had been dragged. You know. On July 31st, day 4 of the trial, machinist R.B. Barrett took the stand and said that he saw bloodstains on a machine by the second floor and an empty pay envelope with Mary Phagan's name, suggesting the murder had been a robbery gone wrong.
Okay.
So let's go back to it, right? Let's put a paperclip in that. Let's go back to the case. If she died at the hands of her boss, why would her boss want to rob her of $1.20?
Right.
All right. If the crime was sexually motivated, purely sexually motivated. So the fact that they found her envelope over by another machine suggests that this was not just sexually motivated, but also a robbery,
right? Which
would cast blame on the janitor, James Connolly.
Her envelope was there, but the check was gone.
No. It was like money in there. Yeah.
So it was still there.
The money was gone.
Okay, but
her purse,
the envelope was there.
like her envelope, the money, the pay envelope was
gotcha.
gone. So on James 4th, James Connolly begins to testify over 3 days for about 16 hours a day.
Fuck.
Fucking 16 hours for
Saying
3 days.
What? That he...
His testimony was so over the top
that
the judge had to clear the courtroom of women and children.
Really?
It was like,
fainting couches
everywhere. Yeah. He testified to being the lookout on the day while Leo Frank engaged in sex with women in his office.
Okay.
C. Dalton, a railroad carpenter with a bad reputation, corroborated this statement by saying that they had both used Jim Connolly in this capacity.
Oh my God.
Him and Frank.
Yeah.
Double teaming girls
this
or whatever.
guy stands out and watches while he has sex with
Yes.
girls. Okay.
While we have sex with girls.
Okay.
Connolly claimed that on that day he was to stand lookout while Mary Phagan went into Frank's office. Then he heard a whistle to come in, like after the whole thing was done. Mm-hmm. And he said Leo Frank told him that things got out of hand when Mary refused his sexual advances. He said that he was ordered to dump the girl's body in the basement but couldn't lift her alone, so Leo Frank helped. He claimed the notes were an apparent effort to pin the murder on Newt Lee.
Okay.
Like, you're a black man. Clearly your writing is black, and so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wanted him to write the notes so that it would look like Newt Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
To frame him more.
To frame him as the killer, which is why he sent him there at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So Jim admitted to a long history of arrests and to pooping under the elevator shaft prior to her death.
What the fuck?
So he said, yes, I popped a squat under the elevator shaft, but that was before she died. But that's not true, because if they took her down in the elevator, they would have squished the poop. But he didn't poop there before she died. Maybe
they just threw her down the shaft.
They didn't.
How do you know?
Because the dragging marks, babe.
The dragging marks from where?
That the freaking cop testified to, that they had dragged her body from the elevator shaft to the side, the corner near the incinerator.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he pooped under the elevator shaft.
I don't understand
after she was killed.
How you could take a shit after you dispose of a body. Like, I don't understand.
Because you're a fucking monster.
Oh my God. That's a lot, bro. It's a lot what you're saying.
Yes.
And so somebody else said that they took the shit.
The janitor, James Connolly.
Okay, all right.
So he hears the whistle. He helps Leo Frank, blah, 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 right? He tries to frame freaking Newt Lee. He has a long history of arrests. This story was believed by many whites in the courtroom who thought it was too convoluted for a black man to come up with. They thought African Americans were too dumb to come up with a story that detailed. They presented evidence that Leo Frank tried to pin this crime on 2 innocent black men. So the whole time they were like, yeah, that's really sophisticated crime. Like, a black man couldn't possibly be that sophisticated. So on August 12th, 13-year-old office boy Alonzo Mann testifies under oath that he was at the factory and knows nothing about the murder. Like, he's like, okay, I was there at the thing. I didn't see nothing. So I don't know. It couldn't have been my boss. It couldn't have been anybody. We didn't see it. All right. So, Mann also tells detectives 3 different stories in 3 different interviews, and gave yet another story in his sworn testimony at the trial. And these interviews and in his trial testimony, he says he never saw James Connolly at all on the day of the murder.
Okay.
And that comes into play later in 1983. So put a paper clip on that.
1983?
1983.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. When he's like a whole 86 years old and dying. Okay. So another witness, 16-year-old Nellie Wood, told the court that Frank had pushed himself against her and touched her breasts.
Okay.
Which I've had bosses like press up against me and like fucking, never touch my breast. But 14-year-old Nellie Pettis, a witness for the defense, recounted how Frank had prepositioned her for sex. 20 girls in all gave a similar testimony about Frank's improprieties. Several male employees, and that's saying a lot. 1915 men saying, hey, he was a little, he crossed the line, right? That he would rub up against young female workers a little too much.
Gross.
Yes. The testimony was so explicit that the judge had to, once again, women and children, you must leave.
Also, why the fuck are a bunch of kids at court?
I mean,
like, the fuck?
honestly,
learning something.
Really, who's bringing their babies to a lynching and a court thing,
Yeah.
On August 13th, Mrs. Ray Frank, Frank's mother, jumps to her feet and yells out anti-Christian epithets at the prosecutor and was removed from the courtroom. Her outburst.
Anti-Christian.
What are you calling them? Like what are you saying?
Jesus
What's an
freak?
a Jesus freak? No, I don't know. What would that?
Bible thumper. I could go on. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, but what's an epithet? Like a wasp? Like, are you calling them a wasp?
But that's not a Christian thing.
Is it? I don't know.
think so.
I don't know. I was just like, I can't. Like, dick sucker. Wait, no, your favorite dick licker. I don't know what the hell she called them. So her outburst enters religion to the trial for the first time. So she plays.
I wish I would have got that one.
Religion part.
Of you, your face screaming "dick sucker." This is my favorite thing that ever happened.
Okay, so on August 18th, Leo Frank takes the witness stand and gives an unsworn statement. I was like, because he's Jewish,
won't put
maybe
his
like
hand on the-
he won't.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
For 4 hours.
Interesting.
And he will not allow himself to be cross-examined. I'm sorry, I didn't know that was an option.
Is it not?
I don't know.
He said simply no.
He was like, no. He's like, fuck that. Fuck that noise.
Yeah.
No. So at trial, Frank's attorney admonishes the white jurors for even considering the testimony of a black man.
Really?
He says, they would rather believe the Negro's word. Oh, how times have changed. I hope to God I die before they change any worse than this.
Oh, my God.
Leo Frank's lawyers argued to the jury of 12 white men that murder, rape, and robbery were Negro crimes. And thus, Frank, a white man, could not have committed the murder of Mary Phagan. One defense attorney said, the murder was the unreasoning crime of a Negro.
Are you sure you're not the one that shit underneath the elevator?
No, I wasn't. That it isn't a white man's crime. Frank's own racist thinking is reflected in an Atlanta Constitution front page headline on May 31st, 1913. Mary Phagan's murder was the work of a Negro, declares Leo M. Frank.
Jesus Christ.
The newspaper quoted Frank, here is a Negro, not alone with the shiftless and lying habits of an element of his race that is common to the South. No white man killed Mary Phagan. It's a Negro's crime. Through and through. No man with common sense would even suspect I did it.
That's very crazy.
Right?
That's really crazy.
I mean, that really sucks.
Yeah, man.
But also, I don't know, man. He took a shit under the fucking elevator shaft, and that was after the body was dead. It had to have been. The shit speaks volumes.
What are people saying about the shit?
The shit is the fucking deal breaker.
Really?
How could they have taken the elevator shaft down? And I'm gonna address it, okay? Because the shit comes into play.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the fucking
It's the lyncher.
It's the fucking
God.
thing. It's okay. So with all that, on August 25th, Leo Frank is found guilty of the murder of Mary Phagan. Wah, wah. So he was like, yeah, it's a black man's crime. And I was like, bitch, you fucking killed her.
You don't think you did? Okay, go ahead.
On August 26th, Judge Leonard S. Rowan sentenced Leo Frank to hang for the murder and execution, and it's set for October 10th. So Leo Frank's lawyers like fucking scrambling, right? And they said they file a motion for a new trial, and this creates a stay of execution until October 31st, right? When they deny the motion,
Okay,
because they have to hear it. So this takes us all the way into 1914. On January 7th, Frank's lawyer submits a legal finding rebutting the state's case against their client, and the Georgia Supreme Court postpones any ruling for a month.
Okay.
So a month later, on February 17th, the Georgia Supreme Court denies the motion for a new trial by a 4-2 vote. The guilty verdict in the trial is affirmed by Georgia Supreme Court. They were like, nah, bro, you're guilty.
Really?
And it's sent back into the hands of the Fulton County courts to set a new execution date. They're like, yeah, we're not going to hear that. You're guilty. Get the fuck out of here.
They didn't even really.
Nah.
Okay.
And then they were like, give him a new execution date. We already passed it, right? So on February 18th, Adolph Ochs, Jewish owner of the New York Times, begins his campaign to exonerate Leo Frank. And that's a fucking mistake.
Okay.
Okay, so he is in the New York Times and he's, trying to grasp at straws. This is what could have happened. This is, And so it turns it into a racially charged thing. Mm-hmm. And whites and Jews are not the same.
Right.
Okay, so the Jews and the blacks are seen as the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to the Jews, they're like, oh, no, we're better than the freaking blacks, right? At this time, I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So this becomes like an imbalance. Instead of them sticking together and working,
right.
They didn't. They kind of like went against each other,
Mm-hmm.
all right? So then on February 24th, James Connolly is found guilty of being an accessory after the fact. So this, after the whole New York Times thing, they were like, well, let's look at that janitor again.
Yeah.
Okay? And so now he's found guilty of being an accessory after the fact, and he is sentenced by Judge Benjamin Hill, which becomes an important guy in this, to the Fulton County Superior Court to a year in the chain gang. So he's in the chain gang just for a year.
Yeah.
Leo Frank's lawyers file a motion for a rehearing of the case before the Supreme Court of Georgia. But the Supreme Court of Georgia unanimously refuses the motion for a hearing. They're like, we thought we were clear the first time.
Yeah.
On March 7th, Judge Benjamin Hill resentences Leo Frank to death by hanging, with the execution date being set for that Friday, April 17th, 1914, his 30th birthday.
Damn, what the fuck?
I think he was trying to be, like, he was just like, bitch, I fucking hate you. Like, go away. I'm going to give you a birthday present.
Damn.
On April 12th, a reward of $1,000 is offered by Detective William J. Burns, because he will not let this go. For the satisfactory
George Burns joke. I wasn't meaning The Simpsons.
He wanted satisfactory information in connection with reports that Leo Frank is a pervert and is immoral.
Uh-oh.
So he's like, I'll pay anybody $1,000 if you can fucking tell me information that can confirm that this guy needs to fry.
I'll tell you.
So the dude went from trying to investigate his innocence to trying to get this guy to burn.
Why?
I don't know, man. Maybe he just really fucking hated him.
Why?
Because he was a dick. He was like fucking girls and like sexually harassing and using his power.
So he is an asshole.
He's a fucking asshole.
Is capable of committing this crime.
Yeah.
So why do you think he didn't do it?
Bro, because
of the turd?
Because of the turd.
It can't be because of the turd.
Only because of the turd.
Wow.
And the pay envelope. And the pay envelope.
Maybe he just wanted to steal the money. Who cares?
Why would somebody come to their workplace on their day off?
He was giving out the paychecks.
No, bro, the janitor.
No, I'm talking
James Connolly. Why would he go?
Wants to. Okay.
Why would he be there?
I thought you meant he wanted Leo Frank to burn.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. He wanted Leo Frank to burn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
That's why I think that James Connolly is guilty. Right. That's the only reason why. So April 16th, Leo Frank's attorney moves, to move for a new trial, to keep postponing the date of the execution. Mm-hmm. The motion they file set a new court date and automatically triggered a stay of execution. But Benjamin Hill, the judge, overrules and denies the extraordinary motion. They're fucking done. This continues back and forth. They keep grasping at straws. They go to the U.S. Supreme Court. It keeps getting kicked back. But each time the execution date keeps getting pushed out, right? So in December of 1914, I'm sorry, Benjamin Hall sets an execution date of January 22nd, 1915. Mm-hmm. And this seems to be the date. So on February 8th, this is now passed because they keep fucking trying to move it.
Yeah.
America's first blockbuster, D.W. Griffith's film, The Birth of a Nation, is released.
Uh-oh.
And this film depicts the triple Ks, the KKK, in a positive light. And people get fired the fuck up about race and the pushes for all this equality.
Did you know that was the first film ever played in the White House?
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So So you got the majority whites, and they're like, oh my God, these blacks and Jews, they all want equal rights. They're gonna take our shit, just like now.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, nah, bro, we just kind of want like equal shit like you. You know what I mean? Like we all want the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah,
we
right.
want the chance. You know, don't take it all for yourselves.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh no, they're gonna take all our shit. But anyway, so they're like fired up, and they're like, oh, you know. They're coming for us, right?
Yeah.
So on May 10th, after all the appeals have been exhausted, Judge Hill resets the execution date to June 22nd, and they're like, no, for real, this time it's happening.
Imagine
June
the pit
22nd.
in your fucking stomach for the last year or so.
Right?
Like, you're gonna die. You're not gonna die.
You're gonna die, and you're gonna die in like the worst fucking way, right? Right. That May 10th. All right, so May 10th is the fucking final
Right, it's
decision.
coming, yeah.
On May 31st, Georgia Prison Commission hearing begins. Frank's lawyers had filed a hearing for the clemency with the hopes that they would like maybe commute his sentence to like life
without parole or something. Yeah.
Yes, but it's rejected. They're like, no, we want to see you hang.
On a blood.
So remember the shit steering governor from before? Okay. John Stanton. Well, on June 21st, it's his last week in office in Georgia. And he commutes the sentence of Leo Frank to life in prison.
Really?
He's like, I don't believe this man was guilty, and I can't go to bed. I would rather fucking work the fields for the rest of my life. And
he didn't say that.
He fucking beats feet out of Georgia. He's like, oh, I'm going to fucking burn for this. They're coming for me, right?
Really?
And so he beats feet out of Georgia, lives in obscurity for a little bit, and he's like, yeah, I don't think he's guilty. I'm going to leave. Bye. And everybody's like fucking losing their mind, right? So he also gets him transferred out of the freaking prison that he was in, the county prison, to the Atlanta State Penitentiary in the cover of night.
Really?
Like, they were like, oh my God, yeah. And he knew this was going to cause some shit, right? So there's fucking demonstrations in the streets, and in Atlanta, it's fucking just people are losing their fucking mind. And a mob converges in front of his fucking house.
Because they think he's guilty. They want
him to fucking hang.
Okay.
And this governor, he's like, you're a Jew lover. And they just fucking go nuts, right? So then to further stir the shit, on June 26th, the New York Times writes an article about a group of men calling themselves the Knights of Mary Phagan.
Don't love that.
Yeah, so the Knights. Anytime you see Knights and it's white, you're like, oh.
Unless it's the medieval times.
Oh, right? So with all the patriotism and Knights of this and that story, a prisoner named J. William Keene gets into his head that he can be a hero, and therefore his sentence will be commuted and he will be freed, even though he's a murderer, if he takes the life of Leo Frank. So on July 18th, he fucking slashes Leo Frank's throat. No. Like, he makes like a fucking Italian necktie.
Yeah.
All right. And an inmate who was a doctor saves his life.
No. So he can just get executed.
This
is crazy.
Just fucking let me go, bro.
For real, this is nuts.
So tensions had already been pushed to this fucking boiling point. And on August 16th, vigilantes converge on Milledgeville's state prison farm. And Leo Frank is fucking taken out of his sweet, sweet slumber. He's just like, in his fucking jail cot. They take him out. They fucking, like, it was like a coup that they did. Like, they, like, different people stationed in different places.
Really?
They fucking shut the power to the jail. They fucking come in. They fucking grab him out of his bed. There's a fucking a car that, like, a decoy for when the cops go chase them.
Really?
And there's like a decoy car and then another car, and they're calling each other, and they're like fucking, yes.
They had cell phones?
No cell phones.
No, not cell phones, telephones.
No. Oh, maybe. Or like smoke signals or something. Like fucking the things.
Okay.
Flares. I don't know. So anyway, it was well organized. And they drive him almost 200 miles to Marietta, Georgia. The hometown of Mary Phagan.
Shit.
And in a tree across from Mary Phagan's house, facing her house, they fucking lynch him.
Yo.
And not only do they lynch him, but after he is hanging, and it's a horrible death because they tie this thing around his neck and his neck breaks, but he's still alive. And he's like, they hang him and he's like starting to twitch and stuff like that. And he twitches for the longest time. He takes forever to die. And then when he dies, they're fucking ripping pieces of clothes off of him as souvenirs. They're fucking dragging him through the street. The police had to come and break up the melee on his body.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's fucking insane, right? Like, it's gratuitous. So On August 20th, his body is taken by his wife via train. They had to fucking get, like, the police had to come in and take the body so that they can give him a burial because they wanted to just fucking keep playing with it.
Yeah.
So his wife takes a train and takes him on the train and buries him in Brooklyn, New York.
Fuck.
Yes. The saddest train ride in the world, right?
Yeah.
So on November 17th, Judge W.D. Ellis of the Fulton County Superior Court near here's Pinkerton Detective Agency. There's a lawsuit against the National Pencil Company because they're like, hey, we didn't get paid, right?
Get the fuck out of here.
And at that same time, William Simmons reinstitutes the KKK in a ceremony atop Stone Mountain. They burn a cross, and they're like, all right, we're back in the KKK. And, you know, we started off as fucking the Knights of Mary Phagan, and now we're the KKK again.
Get the fuck out of here.
And it revives it, yes. So in 1957, April 23rd, Lucille Frank dies in Atlanta, and she is cremated, and her remains are buried in secret in a shoebox between her two parents' graves because they were so fucking afraid. This whole thing set off an anti-Semitism thing that drove people out of Atlanta in much the same way as the fucking World War I drove people, Jewish people out of fucking Poland, all right?
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, we're fucking out, right? So they were just like so scared. The whole community was like so scared of anti-Semitism stuff, you know what I mean? That she had to like be buried in secret. Yeah, in a fucking shoebox.
That fucking
the most prominent people, and it cleared Jews out of Atlanta. Like it really did.
Makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, they were just like, yeah, we're not doing this. So in 1961, the state's star witness James Connolly dies. At the same time, Leo Frank's trial record is lost or stolen. They was just like fucking disappeared. There is no death certificate for James Connolly, which he kind of, after this whole crime, he kind of like lays low, but then he gets arrested for something else, and it was just like for a robbery. He gets shot trying to rob somebody, and like, but he recovers, and it was just like a whole thing. But he was like still living a life of crime. And William Smith, his attorney that the newspaper hired to defend him, while he was defending him, he was like, yeah, I have to step away. This guy definitely killed her.
Really?
Yes. That was James Connolly's attorney.
Right.
They were like, yeah, he definitely killed her.
Jesus.
So, yeah. So he was just like, yeah, I'm going to step away from this. So in 1982, on March 4th, Alonzo Mann, remember the 13-year-old, 14-year-old office boy? He makes a deathbed confession, claiming that as an office boy, he witnessed James Connolly carrying the body of Mary to the basement, and that he threatened him, and he said, if you say something, I'm going to kill you. So he went home and told his mom, hey, you know, this man killed this girl, and his mom was like, you better shut the fuck up. I'm going to try to keep you safe. You stay out of this. You didn't see nothing. And so he kept quiet all the way until he was 86 years old. Like,
Jesus
are you
Christ.
fucking for real, bro? I don't know how much I believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, all this time,
Especially
you
like
said
all
something?
of the craziness that happens. Like, I mean, I could see why you would not want to say something because how crazy it got.
Right.
But then, like, once things died down, maybe I don't know.
Right? Like maybe in the 70s or the 60s.
Yeah. Right.
After everybody was good and dead, you could have
Yeah.
been like, hey, you know, he was guilty. You know, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He waited to his fucking deathbed.
Wow.
So anyway,
Which is dramatic, and also there's something to be said there.
Right. So this, his little, you know, spiel, deathbed confession, got the Anti-Defamation League, you know, which is like a Jewish thing, to submit to the Georgia Board of Pardons and Parole to like maybe give him a posthumous like pardon or something. And they were like, yeah, no, he's definitely fucking guilty, Leo Frank. And the best we can do for you is maybe give him like some kind of a pardon based on we didn't protect him as a you know, from the lynch.
Yeah.
That's the best that we can do. And so they give him a posthumous pardon on the basis that that they failed to protect Leo Frank from the lynch mob on March 11th, 1986.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if
Whatever.
that and a fucking nickel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he's
I
dead.
don't know, though, because it's not like he wasn't able to commit, like, it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that Leo Frank did it.
I'm not saying that it wasn't out of the realm of possibility, but the poop.
She's stuck
Now,
on that poop.
right, okay, so after the poop thing, right, that poop argument has been made. And they say, well, maybe he lied about the way that they got her body down, you know what I mean, to the basement.
Yeah.
But okay, if they were going down the ladder to bring her body to the basement, that's a fucking whole lot harder than taking her down in an elevator.
And
they
just
would have
throw her down
squished
there?
the poop.
They could have just thrown her down there and then went down
No,
themselves.
because of the drag marks. There were drag marks down
I'm going
there.
to need to see like a
Yeah,
layout.
so I mean that's the whole thing. So like now if you are of the party in the South, this is like still very much contested because it's a racial thing, right? So if you say I think the black man did it, then you're kind of like being a little bit racist or whatever, and if you say that the Jewish man did it, then you're kind of being a little bit racist.
Well, those are your
too.
two options anyway.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, what party are you from? So people have like a real, like it's like a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're wrong if you're wrong and you're wrong if you're right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you don't think Leo Frank did it?
I don't know. I would have had to seen more. I would have had to seen more, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and because they lost the stuff, they lost the information.
Yeah.
You can't really like revisit that and
Right.
say, hey, he did it for sure or he did it for sure. You know?
Right.
Either one.
Well, I hate that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, I always try to give a stomach turner.
Yeah. Would you like me to lighten the load?
I sure want you to lighten the load.
So something really unfortunate happened to me.
To you.
Yeah. I turned 39 and my eyes stopped working. So I had to get glasses.
But you didn't have to get serial killer glasses.
But
and
I
that's
had
exactly
to get
what they are.
glasses. So now I can see my story to tell you. But I
Oh,
thought
wonderful.
I'd save it for the big reveal.
Oh my
for the
God. Is this a
podcast.
reveal?
Yeah, it's the first time.
You know what
I
I like? I like that your nose ring matches your glasses.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I did bring fancier nose rings because I didn't know if we were going to go to dinner or anything.
Okay. This is the classy bitch I hang out with.
Yeah, exactly. So, in preparation for the podcast,
Okay. Because you like to stay ready so you don't got to get
that's
ready.
right, bitch. Not only did Cindy book our hotel,
Right.
figure out the car,
Well, the Airbnb. This is an Airbnb.
right, whatever, yeah, the place we were going to stay,
Right.
the sleeping arrangements,
Yeah.
fucked them both up, but you know,
I mean,
it's neither here nor there.
Ugh.
She made a list of podcast ideas
Right.
to cover for the show.
Right. Because we were like,
We were floundering. Certainly.
yeah, we were
I mean, like, didn't write it until
the day before. And for me
finished
today.
it
Finished mine an hour
Yeah.
before everybody
Minutes.
got here. I promptly ignored that list.
Yeah,
And
me
I
too.
contacted Amy and was like, "What do you think?
Right.
Was there like something that we could like that's like a people should know about from
Right.
Atlanta, from Georgia, whatever?" And podcast gold was handed to me. I think.
Really? Okay.
I think it's an interesting story. I think you're gonna like.
Got it.
So I got my information from wintersmedia.net, Wikipedia, people.howstuffworks.com, timesherald.com, Amazon. Well, it was Amazon Prime Video.
Okay.
A documentary called Mayhayley Lancaster, Legend of an Oracle.
I'm sorry, Oracle?
Yeah.
Okay. I really don't know what an oracle is.
What do you think it is?
A magic person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a
okay.
soothsayer.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
Like an oracle,
Right.
you know?
You
Like Harry Potter, when they go get the oracle, it's like the thing and it has the...
like a future teller.
Exactly.
Fortune teller.
You got it.
Got
yeah.
it. Okay.
So, October 18th, 1875, in Heard County, Georgia, Amanda Mayhayley Lancaster was born to Harriet and John Lancaster.
Mayhayley.
Yeah.
That sounds like a made up name.
Well, she
It
never
is.
goes by Amanda, not one time. She goes by
Okay,
Mayhayley.
Mayhayley.
Yeah. There were 10 siblings. Mayhayley was the third oldest. And legend says that she was born with a caul covering her face. Do you know what this is?
A call?
Yeah.
Is it where like you're born with the placenta over your face?
Yes, exactly. So this is less than 1 in every 80,000 babies are born with a caul. It's not surprising that there's a ton of superstition and stories surrounding this mysterious and rare phenomenon.
Right. They say that like babies are special when they're born like that.
Absolutely, yeah. So a caul is a piece of the amniotic sac that is still attached to a newborn baby's head or face.
Right.
It's extremely rare. Well, I guess not extremely, but it's pretty rare. And the baby sometimes the baby will emerge like fully still in the placenta, which is like super duper rare.
Yeah,
And they have to
yeah.
like break it. And like
Yeah.
I've seen that happen on YouTube and I was like, holy shit, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
And so when a baby is born with these conditions, it's called a birth with a veil, or born with a veil.
Yes. That's
Okay.
what I was like. What, a call?
Yeah, but it's called a caul.
Okay. I've heard the veiled birth.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So it's basically just a piece of the sac like breaks off during gestation. Sometimes it's like stuck to the baby. Usually you could just peel it off, but like if it's broken off before,
Right.
it could get like sort of fused there and they have to like break it off, whatever.
Okay, so it's like leaving the bathroom with toilet paper stuck to your shoe.
A smidge, except your face and placenta.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Roman midwives sometimes stole the calls and sold them to lawyers who believed that if they were in possession of a call, it would help them win their cases.
Okay. Oh, now I've seen everything. Your lucky call.
Yeah. This superstition reached...
Did they put it on a keychain like a rabbit's foot?
I think they would like dry it out and shit and like carry it around with them.
That's fucking insane. Also, what a great idea.
Yeah, so this superstition would reach places like Iceland, Denmark, and England. Some other cultures believed that if they made a potion out of it, like in the bathtub, and they like powdered it and it would cure malaria. I don't think this works, but...
Fucking, what out of all things, malaria?
Was a problem, I would assume.
Wow.
In the country of Dalmatia, never heard of it.
Okay.
Placing
Are there 101 people living there?
I think so, yeah. Placing a call under a dying person's bed was believed to make their passing easier.
If you put the placenta under there?
The call.
The call.
Yeah.
Got it.
In Belgium, if you bury the call in a field, the child whose call it was would have good luck. And some people believe that if you're born with a call, that you're immune to drowning.
Did anybody test that out?
Well, yes. In one instance, this only lasts as long as you keep the call, because as soon as the mother had gotten rid of the call, like after her son was about a year old, he had drowned. And they were like, oops, we probably should have hung on to that. And that was in 1939.
Oh my, we were just such a dumb nation.
This was like across the world. It's
okay.
everywhere, yeah. I mean, everybody, like, my point is there's superstitions about these calls all over the world. Yeah. So much so the drowning thing that they would sell the call to, like, sailors and shit. Like, people really were, like, they believe this shit. So... Anyway, Mayhayley, that's not my point. I found the call thing very interesting.
Yeah, so I found it interesting.
So she started telling fortunes when she was 6 years old, and she would tell people that she got her, as a child, that she got her powers not from the call, but from laying down in an abandoned house and letting snakes crawl all over her. She then got up after the snakes crawled all over her, and she read the Bible to the snakes, and then when she was done, she tore the pages out of the Bible, she ate them, and then she said, you will eat the words of my mouth and be blessed. And then...
And the snakes believed it?
She became powerful.
And the snakes started wearing white shirts and black ties and riding bicycles and carrying a little briefcase and coming to people's houses and sharing the word of our Lord Jesus Christ?
Yes, 100%, yeah.
Okay.
So Mayhayley was a tall, thin woman who dressed very eclectically. You can show the first couple of pictures.
Is she part Native American?
I don't think so, no. I don't know what the Mayhayley thing is about. There's not a ton of information on, like... I mean, there's a book that you can't fucking get.
Okay.
That you just simply... Well, you can't get it in 2 days. You can get it, but you have to, like... buy it and wait for it to get here in the mail, and it takes a long time.
So basically you can't get it.
Yeah, you can't.
Because it takes 2 days. Because it's not instant.
You can't get it when you're putting your story together 2 days before you leave for Georgia.
Right.
So, like, if a normal person wanted to read this book, you should. Probably is a great book. I'm interested in it.
Right.
But I didn't get to read it, so.
I think most people aren't, like, 2 days into going to a trip to Georgia to tell the story.
It doesn't feel like a summer beach read.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But... so this is Mayhayley.
Oh, she's cool as fuck.
She's a tall, thin woman. She dressed very eclectically.
She looks like a rooster.
Sometimes she would wear flour sacks as a dress with, like, a military, hat and jacket. If it was, like, cold, she would, like, wear this, like, long military jacket, and she would be like, it's my dead brother's jacket and hat. And she just, like, would wear it, and she loved it.
Wow.
Sometimes she would choose to dress more ornately. She would wear feather hats and boas. She was very, like... just like about that shit, just like into whatever the fuck she was wearing. Love that for her.
Yeah, she was an influencer.
At around 25, she lost one of her eyes.
Okay.
There's some folklore around the reason that she lost her eye, but most people commonly believe that she and a group of other women were walking on a windy day, like to or from church.
On a windy day.
Yeah,
okay.
It was very windy.
Right.
And someone in front of her, a woman with one of those fancy pants hats, her hat flew off, and the hat pin right in the eye.
Oh, fuck.
And she just, like, out of her eye.
Holy shit.
So she lost her eye. Which would simply fucking end me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I heard that was very common.
The eye thing?
The hairpin to the eye.
Well, so, women they had to stop like carrying the hat pins because like men were trying to rape women back then, and they would fucking shank them with the hat pins. So
Bruh,
like, instead of making rape illegal, they made hat pins illegal because the women were like shanking dudes with hat pins because they're like real long and like hard and strong.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? So they were like, yeah, you guys can't have those anymore. Plus the eye thing is not good, I don't think.
In my vintage store, I sell hat pin containers, and they go for a lot of money. Like they go for like $200. No, they're like it looks like a vase, and it has like little holes at the top, and like you can put your hat pins in there.
I want that.
I mean, yeah, and I've sold a hat pin. I've sold.
I want hat pins now.
Yeah,
I want hat pins now. It's gonna be a thing I collect.
Really?
I'm gonna put it next to my beehive.
Oh, I could hook you up. I probably have a ton of hat pins.
I want that. I want that.
Hat pin.
Okay, I want that. Okay, so anyway, she at the eye.
This is the hat pin show.
Sometimes she would put a glass marble.
She would just stick it.
Just put it right in the socket so that she like.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a googly eye or anything. Just a glass marble. And she'd be mid.
Was it a starlight?
I think it was like glass, like clear, like just smoky looking.
Oh my god!
Like a marble.
I fucking love that.
And then she'd be like mid conversation and be like, bloop, and just buff it on her shirt. And just like pop it back in.
I would draw it like with a marker. I would draw like
I don't think
eye.
they had markers. This is the same time frame as your story, actually.
Okay.
Late 1800s,
Got
early
it.
1900s.
I'm gonna let you go with this.
Mayhayley was literally the jack of all trades.
Okay.
Okay. She was a teacher until about her mid 30s and always taught people things like throughout.
Okay.
Whatever. She went to law school in 1911, and back then joining like the bar association was voluntary, so you didn't have to pass the bar to practice law in the state of Georgia. You could just be like, that's fine. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Right. Yeah.
She was a huge advocate for, women's rights and women's suffrage. And,
Right.
She was the first woman to run for Georgia legislature. She ran for the Senate in 1922, the House of Representatives in 1926, and again for the Senate in 1928. Don't read my story.
Cindy's trying to catch a peek.
She was a widely progressive politician in a time when racial segregation was the norm, and she believed that everybody should be treated equal and with respect.
Oh my god, I love her already.
Yeah, she was a champion for women's rights. She ran on a platform for cheaper birth fees for babies to be born in safe and clean conditions for everyone, not just rich people that could go to the hospital. Because when women would be dying in childbirth, they'd go to the hospital, they couldn't afford to pay the bill. Yeah.
They were just
they would just die at home.
Dracarys. You don't know this because you haven't started watching House of Dragons.
I heard that the first episode was horrendous. Yeah. So she campaigned for roads and railways, which is actually very hard to say.
Roads and railways?
Yes,
oh my god, yes.
Right? To be extended to rural roads and railways to be extended to rural areas.
Oh my god, that's gonna replace the she sells with the seashore, which I messed up.
So people can get sustainable access to things that they need. Okay. She believed that children should have access to textbooks in classrooms, not just rich children, not just white children. And she believed this one so much so that many times she would spend her own money to buy children school books.
Okay.
She believed that there should be shorter sentences for bootleggers.
Oh my god, the shortest of sentences, because bootlegging was the thing.
Yeah,
that should have never been illegal.
She made a lot of money off of them. So
did she?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
I love it.
Obviously,
did she defend them? Please tell me she did.
Yes, but mostly because she would make money from telling them fortunes and shit, and she was she didn't really think that. It seemed to me that she didn't really think that we should be having prohibition,
right? And we shouldn't have.
Yeah, so she was just
drink.
It's fine. Obviously, a woman like this, lost every single one of these elections because we're not going to vote for a woman with progressive ideals.
But she was making common sense.
Yeah, right. So Mayhayley was also a businesswoman. She would buy and sell livestock and land. And at one point, she was the woman who owned the largest amount of land in Georgia. Just like, I'll take all of this. This is mine. Yes. This is for me. Thanks so much.
I love that.
But this is not how she becomes famous, and this is not how she makes her money.
I'm surprised she didn't need a husband to sign for that.
Oh, she didn't need no damn husband.
I mean, but that was a time when you needed a husband to sign for that.
This is not a woman who ever wanted a husband.
Okay.
Or
was she a lesbian?
I hope so.
Okay.
In my deepest being, I believe yes, 100%. But I don't know. I cannot confirm or deny.
Okay.
But if a bitch came up to me and popped her eyeball out and fucking,
you'd be like,
and she.
No, you would not. No, you would. You think that's the type of person you would be. You'd be like,
she looked into her smoky eyeball and read my fortune from it and then popped it back in, I would be like,
Dana, I sent you a picture of a missing toenail on my foot.
And I have not gotten over it.
And you said, I'm not going to be your friend if you send that to me again.
Yeah.
And I sent it to you again, and here we are still friends, but we're not dating.
That's right. We're not dating.
That may be more of a you problem, Nydia.
Also, she asked me to look at a mole on her back yesterday, which is not a mole, and then said to me, but this doesn't mean we're having a threesome. And I was like, I don't understand the correlation, but thank you. So that being said, this is not how she makes her money.
Okay.
Or becomes famous. That was her telling fortunes. Okay? She preferred the term seer, however.
Okay.
She was a devout Methodist, and she used this term because as she got older, she would say that she believed her gifts were from God. And that was like a term from the Bible.
Okay.
She would go to church, and she would bring her 20-plus dogs with her. And
I'm sorry. 20 plus
they would just
dogs.
like fucking follow her around like the Pied Piper, and she would like go just like walk in with her like fucking fancy pants hat flowery thing with her 20 I could not tell you what kind of dogs they were. I'm assuming like a whole ass pack of mutts, like all kinds of different dogs, and she would just sit in like the third row or something, and then just dogs.
Fuck.
Yeah, and they would just sit in church.
And the church people wouldn't be like,
loved her.
Get
Everybody
the fuck out of
no,
here.
they love her. She's like the town fucking hoot. I don't know what she.
Holy
her deal
cow.
is.
All right.
They love her because she would help them. She would help them find things. She would read them fortune. She would.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she was like effective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Listen.
So they loved her because they came to her for fortunes, right? They came to her. She would tell them about their love lives, possible marriages, future children's, and they would come to her about all kinds of things that have gone missing, from pets, farm animals, and even people. One time she described the location of a drowned victim, that not only describing the location of his body, but the clothing and the exact position in which the body would be found.
Floating in water upside down.
Face down, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. No, I don't know.
And they were like, oh my God. He drowned in water?
She may have just been really fucking smart and just like whatever. But no, she was a psychic.
Okay.
A seer.
Yeah, okay.
So her descriptions of lost items, they would be fucking wildly specific. Like people would come there to, and she would be like, oh, I lost my wallet. And they'd be like, walk down 3 rows in the cornfield, make a left, look up and turn your head 90 degrees, and your wallet will be floating in midair. And it would just be there. Like, people would just fucking find it.
And they didn't burn her at the stake for being a witch?
I think we're a bit past that, and also she has money. Like, she makes money.
Oh, okay. Because if she would have
makes
been poor,
fucking
she would have been burnt.
Well, 100%.
Or if she would have been sleeping with some woman's man. It's because she was gay.
Some man's woman, yeah.
Wait, some woman's man.
Or some man's woman.
Right, but she wasn't sleeping with anybody.
I don't know if she was. We cannot confirm or deny this.
Okay.
I will not take a stand. These wildly specific descriptions of like lost items, right? People were into it. And she would charge them $1 and a dime. It was $1 for her and a dime for her dogs.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah. So during this era, people were incredibly depressed, obviously. They had lived through 2 world wars, the 1918 flu pandemic, and the Great Depression.
Okay.
So, like, shit was no bueno.
Right.
What they really needed was hope, and she was able to give that to them. She would provide accurate details about missing soldiers in action to family members who were depressed about the whereabouts of their loved ones.
Okay.
She worked with both the police and criminals. She didn't care.
Okay.
Especially if she felt
Whoever
like
had the money.
Yeah,
Right.
especially if she felt like it wasn't a crime. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She would help cops find bodies, and like I said, if she didn't think it was a crime, particularly gambling, she would help people with the winning numbers. And she would say, if you win the lottery with my numbers,
Right.
you got to come back and give me half. And they would come back and give her money if she won.
Really?
So it was called Playing the Buck. That was the lottery. So that was the name of it.
Okay.
So she lived in this like tiny, dilapidated 14 by 14 shack.
Okay.
It had 2 beds and 2 chairs and a fireplace. And she lived there like almost her whole life.
14 by 14, and it's got 2 beds.
Like this,
and
probably.
Yeah, like
You know what
it's
I mean?
a small little place.
Yeah. And this is where she told most of her fortunes.
Okay.
Not always, though. What she would do was she would either use cards, or read palms. But sometimes she would just like spit into the fire, and then like steam would come up, and then she would like read the fortune from the steam, like in the fire in her house. Like that was like where she, like got her source. or sorcery from.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So, but not always at her house. Sometimes she would like go to things and functions. One of the most notable fortunes that she becomes very famous for.
Okay.
She is at a place called Flat Rock Campground, and she was telling people their fortunes. I don't know what it was, like maybe a fucking hoedown or shindig or something. I don't know what the fuck they were doing there. But two couples,
maybe three fucking amateur as fuck girls were doing a podcast at a campground. And she's like, hey, let me tell your fortune.
That
Your
literally
podcast is
happened
going to be
last year.
over in a year.
So two couples,
Dana's going to quit.
two couples had come up to her and asked Mayhayley to tell them their fortune, you know? So she's like going down the line, tells the fortune,
Right.
oh, you're so gonna get married, have 3 babies.
You're going to travel.
You're
all
gonna
the
be
shit
rich,
that they
all
say,
of the
yeah.
fortunes. She gets to this woman and she says, you are so lovely, but I can't tell you your fortune.
Oh, shit. What happened? Why?
So the woman's all upset, but Mayhayley refused to tell her fortune. So after the woman leaves, and a friend of theirs comes up and she's like, man, my friend was so mad you wouldn't like, she was so upset that you wouldn't read her fortune, you know?
Right.
And she said, I can't read her fortune. There's no future for her to be told.
Stop.
That night, after separating from the other couples, she gets in a car and she's driving to the other side of Atlanta and she was killed in a car accident that same night.
I saw this coming. I think I'm a fortune teller.
I think you might be. So she was already popular before this, but now she's a legend, right? It's people who come from all around to have their fortune told. So she was involved heavily in a case you may have heard recently where a young girl named Mary Phagan was killed at a pencil factory.
No, she was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it goes full circle.
Yeah, so she was in belief that Leo Frank was innocent. She wasn't on his defense team,
Right.
but she was one of the people that like spoke out heavily against, you know, him being executed and him being convicted of the crime.
Wow.
And like that kind of holds weight in this, you know, at the
Right.
time in the area.
Yeah.
Obviously it didn't matter, but like
Right, yeah.
You might have heard that story recently.
Yeah,
don't
yeah. Also, the lynch mob that killed him was all judges and police officers and people, and yes, people in government. Yeah, yeah. They were all
Of
like
course, yeah.
lawyers. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Obviously.
All important people that should have been defending the fucking laws.
Yeah, right. While Mayhayley was a practicing attorney, she wasn't, you know, his lawyer.
Right.
But the case she's best known for, she also was not the attorney. But I'm going to tell you about that murder case because it wasn't just covered moments ago on this
okay.
podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a podcast. I don't know what it was.
It was known as the murder in Coweta County. Coweta. Sorry, I fucked
Is
it
it
up.
Coweta?
I said all day in my fucking head Coweta. It's Coweta County. What is it?
Coweta.
Coweta. I'm still fucking it up. Coweta.
All right.
All
I
right,
love
so
that
the murder
for
in Coweta County. And if you feel so inclined, there's a 1983 movie by June and Johnny Cash.
Stop it.
Yeah, and Andy Griffith, actually, too, plays the murderer. Yeah. But if you don't want to watch it, I'll tell you about it now. So they're moonshiners, right?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. If you pause the podcast,
Go watch the movie right
it's
quick.
free on Tubi. Feel free to go
Okay.
watch it. So they're moonshiners, right? Obviously. They're John Wallace and Wilson Turner. And Wilson's name was actually William, but I think he had some like gambling debts or something, so he was going by his brother's name.
Okay.
But that's just like, I think that's true. Anyway, John Wallace got mad because Wilson Turner was skimming off the top of the profits from their like moonshine situation.
Right.
John Wallace boots him off the property. We're done
Okay.
with you. So in retaliation, Wilson Turner, he fucking steals John Wallace's cows.
All of them?
A few of them, yeah.
Not the cows.
He's like, fuck you, I'll take your cows. You kick me off your property.
How the
What
fuck do you take the cows?
I don't know. Maybe you like shake grass at them and they follow you.
Okay.
You put a little rope around them and you just like, you
Yeah.
don't knock them over though.
No.
You don't knock them over because they can't get back up, I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
John Wallace goes to Mayhayley and he asks her, bro, where are my cows? Do you think Wilson Turner took them? And Mayhayley's like, yeah, I do think he took them, but he's going to get arrested.
Okay.
So don't worry about it.
Right.
And he does get arrested about the cow theft.
Does one of the cows rat him out?
No, but due to lack of evidence, he's let go.
Fuck.
And
What
Jo-
happened to the cows?
I think one was found. Mayhayley said one was going to be found and one was never going to be found again. I don't know if that happened or not, but he was arrested. But due to lack of evidence, no cows were harmed in the making of this film.
Okay.
So he's released, and John Wallace is like, "Nah, fuck that. He took my cows." So he chases Wilson Turner down, right, and he starts beating the shit out of him in front of the Sunset Tourist Camp. which is a restaurant.
Okay.
People are literally outside on the deck, on the little, like, under the stars, eating their lunch. And John Wallace is beating the shit out of Wilson Turner.
Dinner and entertainment.
Yeah, right. He takes him and leaves with his, like, I guess, passed out body, right?
Okay.
So this is the last time anyone sees Wilson Turner again.
Oh, my God.
So he initially disposes of the body in a well.
He fucking kills him from a beating?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, my God.
He said that he says, when I was pistol whipping him, the gun accidentally went off. But that was an accident.
That's
But then
messy.
he recants that later, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, so he throws the body in a well, right? And then he is like, loves Mayhayley. Everyone does. So he had already went to Mayhayley about the thing, but then he was like, I wonder if they're going to find the body. I should probably go check with Mayhayley and see, like, maybe whatever. So he goes to Mayhayley and he's like, bro, you think they're going to find the body of my missing friend? Isn't that so weird that my friend is missing?
Right.
And she's like, I think I see flies flying around the top of the well. And John Wallace is like, what? That's weird. That's so weird.
Right.
So he goes back to his property and he gets 2 farmhands.
Okay.
These 3 men pull up the body and John Wallace makes a big old fire.
Okay.
And he burns the body and he scrapes the ashes up and throws them in the creek. Okay, so now there's no body.
But the farm men, they know.
They do know.
Right,
You're right.
okay.
Now, there is a power dynamic here because these are his employees and they're also black men.
Okay.
Police are never able to find the body. They go to Mayhayley and they're like, what you think?
Right.
And Mayhayley's like, I saw flies over a well. She doesn't know about the fire yet.
Right. It hasn't reached her.
It has not reached her yet.
Okay.
She does eventually say, like, that there is a fire. Maybe there's a fire. But, like, she's initially, like, flies over the well. So they like dig up these wells. There's 3 wells on his farm. This is a big fucking area. I don't know. And no body. They do find little fragments of like bone chips and shit like that. But no body. This was the trial of the day. I mean,
it was sensationalized.
It was fucking sensational. It was, you know, the biggest case in the time.
Did the cows come as witness?
No, but you'll be interested to see who the witnesses are.
Oh shit.
So people say that true crime is like kind of a new fad, but like no bitch.
It's not. No,
people fucking
bro. The Dahmer party, people took that fucking thing, like all of their shit, and like sold it. And I was at an auction. I was doing an auction thing, and like I had the opportunity to buy a piece of the Dahmer party farm thing. Remember? And it was like at $300 and something, and I was like gonna bid for it, and I fucking lost it because I was like, well, that's a lot of money. But it went for like $350.
I believe that, and honestly,
I fucking wish I would have grabbed it.
I would have wished you would have grabbed it too. Honestly,
Ugh, I'm disgusting. I hate myself.
I could put that right next to my beehive.
Right.
So anyway,
why would it be at your house if I paid for it?
I'm gonna want that.
Go on.
I have a good spot for it.
All right.
So anyway, we just have a new format through podcasts or like TV, whatever. But like people have been into this shit since day one. And people lived for this trial. Right. Okay, they were fucking here for it. They little kids were selling tickets to like, they would like get there early and like get a seat.
Hell yeah.
And then be like, I'll sell you a ticket. I got a seat in the courthouse.
Right. Like, oh my God. Yeah. Fucking those were early entrepreneurs.
Hell yeah. There was food stands outside, people lined up, and they came there for the star of the show. Fucking Mayhayley is testifying against him. Yes, bitch.
Not Mayhayley.
Yeah. So Mayhayley comes, she's like, he fucking came to me first. He fucking did this shit. I told him about the flies over the well, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And the 2 farmhands testify against him. With the 2 farmhands' testimony and Mayhayley's testimony, it was enough to convict him and sentence him to death in the electric chair without a body, which is like fucking huge at the time. But also, he's one of the most wealthiest men, you know, at the time, probably ever, to be put on death row, as well as the first white man to be convicted using the testimony of 2 black men and a woman.
Right.
A psychic on top
Wait, so the guy that he killed, he wasn't a white, he was like a...
There's another white dude. That's the guy who got killed right there.
But he was poor.
I think we're both just like bootleggers. He was probably way poorer than Wallace. He was working for him, but like I don't think he was particularly like you know.
Okay, because for my story this week, I was gonna pick the wealthiest man to ever put to death, and he had
his name
killed
John Wallace.
I don't remember, but I thought he had killed like a black man and he had been put to death, but like maybe I was wrong. But
no, but it could have been just because the testimony of the 2 black men.
Yes.
After the trial, is over.
Uh-huh.
The crowds moved from the courthouse.
I'm sorry.
What?
Is that a picture of
That's the guy who killed. That's John Wallace. Yeah.
He looks like
That's
he
the guy who
would
was the victim.
eat his liver with fava beans.
100%.
Like
100%.
like
100%.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like he
yes, ma'am.
looks like
And he was like so fucking cocky, like throughout the court, like because he had money, so he was like, "Oh, I'm
Right.
getting off of this shit."
oh, he's got a cocky look.
Yeah,
in
no,
that
he was a
picture.
dickhead. Yeah, and apparently, like, I didn't watch the movie because I just didn't watch the movie.
Yeah.
but apparently, like, it's Andy Griffith plays him.
Uh-huh.
And like he's like it's very hard to believe that he's like a cocky asshole because he's like Andy Griffith, you
Right,
know?
right,
But
right,
like
right.
apparently he was like a fucking dickhead through the trial. Like he just like definitely thought he was getting.
He had a
off
real
and-
chip on his shoulder.
A real chip on his shoulder. Yeah.
Wow.
So after the trial, the crowds moved from the courthouse to her house. They're like, "Oh my god,
Right.
we want a part of this," and they wanted a reading from the Oracle of the Ages. And so at this point, her rates go up from $1.10
Of course.
to $2.75.
Of course.
And this bitch squirreled her money away in random places all over her house, including the hen's nest and jars buried in the garden and or like the surrounding woods because
Right.
she does not trust banks. Which fair because like the
oh
Great
my
Depression just
god.
happened.
My dream is to buy a fucking property that has money in the walls.
Truly, could you imagine?
Oh, I could imagine.
Well, obviously her house began to get robbed because people
Right,
knew
yeah.
that she was,
Hello.
having money or whatever. So her relatives and local law enforcement forced Mayhayley to, gather up the money
Right.
and take it to a local bank. So she would had I don't know, kids and newspaper words there and taking pictures of it and shit. And the bank was less than thrilled because about $30,000 back then
Oh my god.
of cash was brought into the bank and it was covered in chicken shit and dirt.
I
So they
mean,
were like, we gotta clean it off.
chicken shit, cocaine, and boob sweat. That's what fucking money's covered in.
Yeah. So some accounts say that she didn't trust the bank so much so that she ended up just buying the bank to keep her money there.
Oh my god.
I've heard that on a couple different sources, but I couldn't actually find where that information
Right.
really came from. So it may have just been a wild tale.
Okay.
But most of her neighbors continued to believe that she had a considerable amount of money still hidden in the house and
Oh my god.
the papers love a good headline, so they would be like, "A seer did not foresee that robbery."
I love that.
So, unfortunately, if there was money in the house, that's not too good because the house burned down in 1952.
Oh god
And
damn it.
Yeah, some people believe it was arson, but that was never proven. Her sister, who was her best friend, had a son, and he built her a home that she lived in until her death, May 22nd, 1955. And at the time of her death, she owned more than 25 farms and had over $200,000 in the bank in 1955.
Wow.
There was a ton of argument over her family and people whose money is that? And
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
my
yeah.
money, whatever. Obviously, a huge crowd gathered to pay their respects for the famous Mayhayley Lancaster. And there were tons of rumors about her after she died, that she sold her brain to a hospital in New York so that they could figure out how come she was so psychic.
I highly doubt that.
Well, people in the documentary I watched, they tracked down the people who did her autopsy, and they were like, that definitely did happen.
That definitely did.
But,
Also,
that's
she was making all that shit up.
the lore around her,
yeah.
And so parents in the area would tell their children, don't go near Mayhayley's grave or she'll curse you, or don't take any pebbles off her grave because your car won't start. I don't know why.
Because she's the heavenly saint of car mechanics.
Yes.
I mean that.
They ended up having to cement over her grave to prevent grave robbers
Oh
coming
my
to fuck with her grave. Yeah. People have always been scared of brave and strong women, but people were still scared
Right.
of her after her death. A woman was writing a book about Mayhayley and the remarkable things that she had done as far as women's suffrage and,
Yeah.
and being the first woman to run for
The real things that she
the
did.
real thing, not the seer
Right.
stuff. And she got a phone call one evening, at her home, and the person on the other end asked for her by name specifically, and she's like, I don't, who are you? And she's like, I'm so-and-so from Daytona, Florida. And she's like, I don't know anyone in Daytona,
Right.
Florida. How did you get my number? And the lady on the other end says, oh, I got your number from Mayhayley. And she's like, that's weird. Mayhayley's been dead for 40 years. And she's like, well, Mayhayley just wanted me to tell you that she's pleased with the approach you're taking of the book and, of her groundbreaking feminism instead of the oracleness.
Right.
And the woman was like, cool, thanks. promptly took all of her info, put it in a box, and never wrote the book. Put it in the fucking closet because she was so freaked out by the thing. Never wrote the book. She's in the documentary talking about the book. Never fucking writes it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it sounds like she could have had like a lot of good luck.
I don't know.
Mayhayley was blessing her.
She was feeling it. I don't know why she was so freaked out. Couldn't understand that at all.
Bro.
But yeah, that's the story of Mayhayley Lancaster.
I fucking want that legacy for myself. I want people to fear me after death.
Yeah,
and, like,
I figured you would.
And be like, I need to take a pebble off of her fucking grave because she was that bitch.
You shouldn't take a pebble off of her grave.
Off of my grave.
Oh, you want them to take pebbles off your grave?
Yeah, I want to be like the fucking oracle of like fucking New Jersey.
Every couple of months and just like put pebbles all over your grave so people can come and like take a pebble off.
You guys need to maintain the mystery that is me.
Yeah.
Even though now I'm on crazy medication.
At your funeral, I'll accidentally have my ringtone like...
Yes.
Be like, I'm in love with a stripper.
Yeah, something. You just make it mysterious, okay?
You got it,
like dress in different colors and then just be like...
100%.
Yeah.
I got your back, always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for us. We'll see you next week, but in the meantime, subscribe so you don't miss out. I mean, this is gold, honestly.
Clearly. The magic behind the mystery is over.
Like we've unveiled it. Like we took the veils off.
That's it.
You can do merch. You can do Patreon. Honestly, we need to do merch because we don't.
We don't even have any of our.
We don't have
merch.
enough merch. You can do Patreon. You can buy us a coffee or a drink or anything, or you can write a review and share with someone. You can connect with us on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I hear Facebook's making a comeback.
Is it?
Yeah, I hear that.
I disagree. Hard disagree.
I've been hearing on the TikToks.
Oh,
and,
really?
That's fucking, the TikToks is the TikToks. That Facebook is making a comeback.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The 90s is making a comeback. So I don't know why Facebook wouldn't be making a comeback.
Maybe in another decade or so.
I don't know. Well, you can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Check you out next week, and remember, do not get taken to the second location. Really don't. Like, if somebody fucking holds you up with a gun, you'd be like, you're gonna shoot me right here in front of everybody. I'm not going to that second location,
right?
Because
it's more dangerous at the second location.
You're not coming out of that second location. I promise you. No.
All right.
Be good at hiding a body. You can always be accessory to the fact, and then you
punch you right in the face.
You could be accessory to the fact, and only have to do 1 year in the chain gang.
That's true.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
Are you okay? Jesus Christ. You're so fucking loud. You're disgusting, and I hate you both. Oh, God. I'm crying. Oh, my God.